Salutations, Legion of Doom. Welcome to Podcast The Storm, where social awkward outcasts, crazy weirdos, and all around nerds can talk and debate all things pop culture. With me, as always, is my host, the Nerdy Occultist, aka the Authenticator, Dalton L. Mortimer.
Good evening, everyone.
And I am your host, last time long
1 second, I have to go discipline the dog again. Ragnar, no! God damn it, I thought the door was closed.
Alright, and I am your host.
No.
I am your host, last time long wannabe, the Brainstorm Pop Culture. How's everyone doing tonight?
I was doing fine until the dog decided to be an asshole again.
Right. Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay. So I do want to preface this with explaining to people who will watch this why we are having the podcast episode Friday. I explained it 2 weeks ago. I didn't get to explain it last week, but I will be going to a late night screening of Superman tomorrow, which there will be a review next week for that after I've seen it. Don has already seen it, though graciously he has not spoiled me. In order to make sure my view of the are not tainted.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is kind of what is happening. Because the movie just came out today. Yes, yeah, I'm going to a very late screening because a family member, the person I go to the movies with, is going to be busy at work for most of the day. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was just waiting for the article load. So, okay. I also want to preface this. We only have 4 things this week, just because it was
the news cycle was unilaterally focused on Superman coming out, so there wasn't much else.
Yeah.
For those who want kind of my non-spoiler first impressions, it's better than all the Snyderverse shit. It's not as good as the mid way between the Snyderverse and the Gunverse stuff. It's better than it's better than Man of Steel. It's better than Suicide Squad. Better than Wonder Woman 2. Better than the Snyder Cut Justice League. Not it's a little bit better, I think, than Aquaman 2 or Blue Beetle. Not as good as either of the Shazams. It's not as good as Black Adam. It's not as good as It's not as good as the Batman. It's not as good as the first Wonder Woman, and it doesn't really even deserve to be mentioned in the same sentence as Suicide Squad 2 or Joker 1. Yeah. Anyway, moving forward.
Yeah. So it's 2 things from me and 2 things from Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
So the first 2 things are from Dalton, which, funnily enough, are Superman related.
Again, the news cycle was pretty much unilaterally focused on Supes this week.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. It's from comicbookmovie.com. It's written by Josh Wilding. Published July 7th, 2025. James Gunn confirms Superman is about politics and an immigrant story. First look at 4K Steelbook revealed. Okay. Okay, so just to get this out of the way, speaking kind of as a Superman fan here, I do agree that in a way Superman is an immigrant, but not in the way most people talk about it, obviously, because he was raised human, grew up more or less human, small small town, USA, all that, right? But in the broadest definition, because he came from another world and stayed here, by that broadest definition, he is an immigrant.
Okay, and now speaking as the person in the stream who has seen the actual thing in question, the immigrant thing almost never it never really comes up. There is politics in it. There is politics in it, but it's not immigrant related. In relation to the immigrant argument itself, that's true of Kara. That's true of Supergirl, because she actually has memories of and cultural investment in.
Okay. I actually never thought of that before. To be fair, I never really. Sorry.
She actually has some investment in Krypton as she remembers it. Clark was just been born baby. He has no memories of Krypton, and he has no real touchstones for Krypton until stuff like the Bottle City of Kandor and General Zod get introduced. And in many stories where Superman interacts with other Kryptonians, it's made very clear that his Earthling sensibilities make him kind of the odd man out for other Kryptonians. Granted, some of those stories retcon shit and make Krypton kind of a warlike culture, which I don't think ever really worked. But that doesn't change the fact that 9 times out of 10, when Clark is interacting with another Kryptonian, they look at him weird because of his Earthling sensibilities.
Right. So, for the record, never thought of Supergirl that way. Makes a lot of sense. Granted, they've not done Supergirl either well or really bring her up at all in a lot of Superman-related media. So,
I'm of 2 minds on Supergirl in the Gunverse, because minor, and I stress minor, it's one of the post-credits scenes, or was it just before the credits? But regardless, Kara does show up in Zack Snyder James Gunn's Superman for 5 seconds. I am not sure if it bodes well for her character or not, because they kind of make her a joke character in the one scene she's in.
Hey, Dalton.
But like I said, I will not spoil anything relating to it. But moving on.
Right. As a first look at one of the Superman Steelbooks has been revealed long before its home entertainment release, James Gunn has raised eyebrows with comments about Superman being a political story. Okay, so again, I also do want to point this out. Superman stories have always had politics in them or discussions of politics. However, it's always told either from the perspective of Clark Kent, who is a reporter covering that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or 2, it's focused on the personal human effects from said politics.
And at risk of being a pedantic fucker, because I am a pedantic fucker, I would argue that the so-called politics of Superman are more often philosophical than they are political. I realize that's kind of a hair-splitting distinction on some level, but most of the alleged politics are actually just philosophy. Because Clark, in my opinion, to his credit, sees himself as kind of a humble, simple guy from a small town in Kansas, and doesn't see it as his place to have any sort of unilateral influence on the political landscape just because he is more powerful than people and stuff.
Mm.
Granted, this movie doesn't quite manage that, which annoys me a bit, but I digress. As for the whole Steelbook thing, I will say one thing, because it pisses me off, and then we will move forward. Superman has a Steelbook design before it's even fucking out. We still haven't gotten a physical release for Agatha all along in general, or a Steelbook design for that, and that does annoy me. Where's my Agatha Steelbook? Or other prestige format? I want to buy Agatha on physical media, damn it. I already have the record. The art of book is in my cart, and the grimoire of Agatha Harkness that's coming out next year, and the tarot card that's I think already out is also in my cart somewhere. But I want to buy Agatha on physical media. That show is awesome, and I want to own it. Damn it. Moving on.
All right. James Gunn's Superman dominated the conversation over the long 4th of July weekend, but not necessarily for the right reasons. Early negative reviews for the movie had overshadowed an otherwise robust marketing campaign that's seen the filmmaker promote Love Island and even show up in Rick and Morty. Okay?
I didn't realize James Gunn showed up in Rick and Morty. I'm going to have to watch. I haven't caught up on Rick and Morty since the new season started. I need to catch up, I think.
I don't care.
I like Rick and Morty, so I just haven't gotten a chance to catch up because I've been busy doing other stuff.
Again,
moving on.
I've made it clear that I do not care for Rick and Morty.
I think you would get interested in it if you watched it.
I have watched it. No, I've watched it, Dalton. I've watched it. I don't care for it.
I assume it's Rick's nihilism thing that is the non-sell for you.
That and every character is a piece of shit.
Except Dr. Wong. Dr. Wong is not a piece of shit. She's like the one character in the entire cast that's not a piece of shit.
Well, no, I mean the main cast mostly.
Yeah. Beth is much like her father, a nihilistic sociopath and extremely depressed. Jerry is everything bad about a normal person that it's possible to be. Morty is first slow on uptake and then extremely cynical thanks to Rick's influence. Summer is awesome, but awesome in kind of the same way Beth and Rick can occasionally be awesome. I think she's probably the most stable and centered member of the family.
Anyway.
Yeah, moving on.
Man of Steel is an American icon and in many respects a political figure. There have been hints that Gunn will explore Superman's place in the global landscape, but he's since faced the expected backlash on social media after acknowledging that those on different sides of the political spectrum could have very different reactions to the story he's telling. Okay, so hold on. I agree. Figure is incredibly stupid. Philosophical figure, I could somewhat agree with, depending on how they spin that. But
I can't. I'd like to respond to this point, but responding to this point would require spoiling the thing, and I'm not going to spoil the thing.
And again, exploring Superman. To be fair, they. I think the issue. I mean, the Snyderverse tried to do that, not effective or well, or took the time to actually do it instead of making basically. I believe someone coined the term, not coined it, but used the term when they were describing the Snyder films, God porn for Superman.
Yeah. This movie very much goes in almost the complete inverse direction, but in my opinion, and again, not spoiling, it doesn't do well either. There are actually ways, and I never thought I would say this phrase, but I'm saying this phrase, goddammit. There are actually ways in which I liked stuff that Zack Snyder did, especially in BVS, more than what goes down in 2025 version.
I'm gonna be honest, Don. I don't ever see myself ever taking that stance, even if the movie is bad.
I I'm not saying I'm certainly not defending Zack Snyder, because Zack Snyder does not understand the character, and fuck him entirely. But particular plot points are handled better, I think, in BBS than they were in 2025's version. Can't say anything more than that without spoiling the thing.
Okay. But okay, yeah. Especially in how the world is currently, I would actually like to see a story of that kind of character coming about and being that symbol. Sure. But I think the issue is more so how to say this. I think the issue both with Snyder and I'm not going to assume Gunn, obviously, but I think the issue that when anyone tries to do that kind of story with a kind of character like Superman or Captain America or whatever, they more focus on one specific viewpoint rather than the majority, like the end of.
Rather than let it happen organically as a result of who the character is.
Yes, and like I was going to say, multiple viewpoints. Like honestly, the kind of thing I would like to see, is kind of intercut. Okay, let's say I'm doing a Superman movie, right? And like I said, like last week or the week before, I can't remember. If I was in charge of making a Superman movie, I would take major from a 4-issue miniseries by what was the guy's? Hold on, let me look it up real quick. By Jeff Loeb, called Superman for All Seasons, which details the rise and details Superman's story as he's like becoming Superman and stuff, like starting out in Smallville to his first like introduction in Metropolis. But the thing is, it's always told while it's given an omniscient view to the reader of things, it's always told from the perspective of like other characters and how they're viewing Superman, even though we don't get specifically into Clark's head from the comic, which I find fascinating. And how I would do that specifically in the movie more so is, well, I think we've had this discussion before. Like the cool thing would be, kind of found footage, like sort of a documentary
anthology.
Thing. No. We've talked about this specific Superman movie idea before. The found footage documentary.
The found footage that turns out to be Clark and Lois's like final project for journalism school.
Either that, or we upgrade the Daily Planet from being just newspaper to being just a news broadcasting business overall.
Yeah, the problem of course being in 2025, print is very, very dead and has been for a decade.
We're reading an online article, so it's technically not dead.
Well, in the sense that online articles still have text, but in terms of like physical on the ground newspapers,
yeah, that's
print has been dead for almost a decade now, I think.
To be fair, I have seen a lot of newspapers, like in like those old newspaper boxes as well.
Right. But how many of them are actually being used or purchased or whatever the fuck?
I've seen a few empty. So,
question is, are they empty because people bought a bunch of newspapers, or are they empty because they never refilled it?
No, they're filled. I've seen them be emptied. Is the thing is like that's what I'm saying.
Well, I guess you do live in a city, so there are probably enough random people to justify, I guess, still a little bit.
I also seen them in like banks and stuff, and other places that newspapers would be ads. We don't have newsstands, as far as I know. We're not like New York where they would have those. But either way, Yeah, something like that, where like it's found footage film, like interviewing documentaries, like interviewing like people that have been saved by Superman and stuff, and like get the perspectives of all these different people, like interviews from like hell, even interviews with like some supervillains. Again, this is really early on Superman thing where like they're trying to uncover all this stuff about Superman and stuff and understand him
Mm.
as the media does.
So kind of like what they were trying to do with Lois and Man of Steel, but completely bollocksed up because Zack Snyder is not good at things.
Yes, but yeah, there really isn't like a movie I could say that would be an inspiration for this because it would be kind of a brand new idea. But right, and did we talk about Clark being the cameraman or?
Yes, and either actually accidentally or for the sake of like maintaining the secret identity, uh, breaking things and being klutzy.
Right. Um.
I think that's one of the first ideas we ever workshopped together because I remember it was on, I want to say, like episode 30 of the podcast back in way back in the day.
Yeah.
I think that was the first time where I you pitched me a concept and then I went, what if we connected this and this, and you went, holy shit, why didn't I think of that? Essentially.
Yeah. To be fair, that is like one of my favorite ideas ever because it's just so unique and not. I wouldn't
Well,
say it's ground.
it's kind of like that one idea we had for the JSA, the like old school like Mike Wallace style interviews set in like the 50s or so.
Yeah. Yeah. It was kind of supposed to be like a mock. Well, it was a document. It was framed as a documentary series to give the
Yeah,
origin.
where are they now for the documentary series? Yeah.
That or just like a History Channel documentary series. You know, like.
Back when the History Channel was good and wasn't just ancient aliens and pawn stars and nothing the fuck else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I miss those days.
Anyway,
Moving on.
the Man of Steel is. I read that. I mean, Superman is the story of America. James Gunn told the Times of London, an immigrant that came from other places and populated the country. But for me, it is mostly a story that says basic human kindness is a value and is something we have lost. Okay, that second part's.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with the second half. I remain skeptical of the first, but I will tell you as someone who's seen the fucking thing, the immigrant thing almost never comes up. This is a complete non sequitur to the actual product. The immigrant thing basically never happened. Like never has any relevance whatsoever.
Oh wait, hey, did we come up with the ending that it's kind of Clark drops the camera and we see Superman just appear? Because most of the movie overall is more or less kind of calm, and we just hell even like cell phone footage or like CT, like just random inputs of like footage showing Superman doing stuff, like in,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the end we have kind of sort of third act finale fight
Mm-hmm.
deal.
Yeah.
Uh, or yeah, I think it was that, and like yeah, actually there might be a movie. There's like this one movie that has a guy with superpowers that's kind of shot documentary style. I can't remember what it's called for the life of me.
Mm-hmm. It's
I
not.
think it's
It, for some reason, the only thing that comes into my head is Super, but I know that's not it.
no. It's about a guy that has telekinesis. I think it was the guy who played Blue Devil. Like it starred the guy who played Blue Devil in Swamp Thing.
You sure you're not thinking of Chronicle?
No, it's different. I know that.
Okay, because when you said guy with telekinetic powers and found footage, Chronicle was the first thing that popped in my head. And we anyone who's watched this show knows my hatred for Chronicle. Anyway, back to the article. Unless he had to step away for some reason.
No, I was just okay, so it wasn't the guy I was thinking of, but I know the movie. I just can't remember the fucking name of it.
Trying to think of all the like pseudo found footage superhero stuff. We already know it's not Chronicle. It's not Super. It's
Like
not
set up
Primer. That's the time travel one. Fuck.
Hold on.
Trying to think of found footage telekinetics. The only one that's popping in my head is Chronicle, and we already established that's not it. Fuck. Because I know there are like sci-fi and fantasy-oriented found footage movies. Before Guillermo del Toro's Troll Hunter, there was a movie called Troll Hunter that was a found footage movie about like Scandinavian folklore. Which, by the way, that movie is awesome. If you haven't seen it, watch Troll Hunter, not the Guillermo del Toro one, the one that existed before the Guillermo del Toro one. It's a found footage fantasy, like an urban fantasy movie with documentary footage of trolls, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I still need to get that on DVD or Blu-ray or the most like prestige format I can find, because I really like that movie and I don't yet own it. That must be resolved at some point.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna find it. So
Moving forward, then.
yeah, pushed on how the movie's themes could be interpreted differently across political groups, particularly with immigration being such a hot button topic. Gunn made it clear he's not bothered about offending anyone. Yes, it plays differently, but it's about human kindness, and obviously there'll be jerks out there who are just not kind and will take it as offensive just because it's about kindness, but screw them. I mean,
James, I hate to be this. I hate to be the guy that I was probably going to end up being anyway, but you kind of butchered the message there a bit. Like there are okay, here's the problem. There are moments where Superman acts like Superman. Like there's this one scene with it's either a squirrel or a chipmunk or whatever the fuck, but there's a scene where he like ends up saving a squirrel from getting squished or something. Or it might have been a chipmunk, I don't know. But point being, there are moments where Superman acts like Brainstorm or I would want Superman to act, but because of the way he acts in other scenes, it kind of makes it seem like that is a performance that Clark is putting on and that that's not his actual personality. It's one of my biggest issues with the movie. Like when it's firing on all cylinders and Superman is behaving like Superman, I am pleased, but a large part, especially of the A plot of the movie, has kind of there being something else behind the mask there, and I don't like that so much. Can't say anything more without spoiling shit. Moving on.
yes, it's about politics, but on another level, it's about morality. He continued. Do you never kill no matter what, which is what Superman believes, or do you have some balance, as Lois believes? It's really about the relationship and the way different opinions on basic moral beliefs can tear two people apart. The fuck?
Yeah, you remember that scene that I had issues with in the trailer?
Don't. We're gonna discuss that next week. So
I'm just a lot of
Oh,
it's one of those I kind of hate being right sometimes things.
damn it. Moving on before I have a
Yeah, moving on.
fucking aneurysm
Moving
of rage.
moving on. Yeah.
Guns and Men is more than just another superhero movie by playing into the politics of it all. What?
I
Okay, hold on.
mm,
Let me read that full fucking sentence there.
okay.
Gunn's attempt to sell Superman is more than just another superhero movie by playing into the politics of it all while talking to a relatively highbrow publication might have seemed like a good idea. However, in a world that's constantly split on everything, there will be those who feel he's asking people to take a side.
That I mean the movie's commentary is about as subtle as a shovel to the face, but you do you, James.
Mm. Okay, hold on. Okay, the issue is, well, for one thing, obviously, I don't think this is the writer themselves saying it,
Mm.
but the way a superhero movie doesn't come across as another superhero movie, even though they're all very different, usually,
Yeah, it's a whole ass genre. Have you not noticed? God damn it.
is that there's actual effort and thought and heart put into into the product of making it.
Which I will say, there are a lot of really good moments in Superman 2025. Like I have massive, like you could see from space or about as wide as the Grand Canyon, issues with the thing, but there are a lot of moments that work. Granted, um, James Gunn's style of humor does get in the way of most of those
God
moments
damn it.
because, but I again trying not to like be a downer here because I don't want to ruin things for Brainstormer. Because
You kind of already have, dude.
this is his this is his guy, and I don't want to. I'm
Don't,
hoping that he'll see it and think that I'm full of shit for being kind of down on it, but who knows?
don't. You were always that guy. Do not, no, don't try
I
that.
I am I am aware, but I'm trying to restrain myself so that you have a good chance of still enjoying the thing. Which there is a lot to enjoy about the thing. Don't get me wrong. It's just um how to phrase this. It's sort of like that kind of conflicted way that we saw James Gunn talking for most of the um press and things for the movie. That kind of conflicted way he's been talking for like 6 months. He kind of decided to just do everything in the movie. Like he doesn't pick one idea he had or another idea he had. He kind of just does all of them. And even without the issues that I had with the movie, which Brainstormer may not have, and I'm kind of hoping he doesn't have, so that he has a good chance of enjoying the movie. Um, Even aside from all the issues I have with it on a personal and philosophical level, um, the movie is very much like a series of episodes or a series of vignettes. Like there are, I want to say 5 subplots. There might even be more. I just don't remember them all at the moment. Um, and and they're very loosely tied together by wholesomeness occasionally, which is fair enough because Superman movie, and James Gunn humor more often, which sometimes gets in the way of shit. Moving on.
Uh, we'll see what happens, but there are already telltale signs of possible review bombing, whether they're from those unhappy with Gunn's comments on or hardcore Snyderverse supporters isn't clear. Okay, to be fair, those Snyderverse dudes, like,
There are
I
some extremely salty Snyderverse guys. This is fair.
I really don't get it.
Yeah, I don't really get it either, considering that Man of Steel is The only reason Man of Steel isn't the worst movie in the Snyderverse is because Birds of Prey and Joker 2 exist, basically.
Let's not also forget Suicide Squad.
Well, no,
And
I would actually argue that Suicide Squad 1 had more fun with it, and that's why I tend to think of it as a little bit better than Man of Steel, because the overly self-serious, grimdark nature of Man of Steel is one of the biggest problems with this fucking thing. And I will say that James Gunn's Superman is much better than Man of Steel. Granted, that bar was buried several fathoms deep in the earth, so that should go without saying.
you done?
Yeah, moving on.
All right. On TMDB, for example, Superman has a lowly 34% score days before its release. On a brighter note, we have a first look at the Superman Steelbook. There is currently no word on when it will be released, but Warner Brothers never has the biggest theatrical window of the major studios these days.
And again, being an entirely petty gay bitch as I am, where's my Agatha Steelbook? Superman gets one before it's even fucking out in the theaters, technically, but Agatha hasn't gotten one like 8 months after it came out. I call bullshit. Moving on.
Superman DC Studios' first feature film to hit the big screen is set to soar into theaters worldwide this summer from Warner Brothers Pictures.
And I do think it will probably do well financially because there's a lot of problems with the thing, but if you're not the kind of person who examines those sorts of writing things, you're not going to notice them because there's so much fun and humor and bright colors going at any given moment. So it probably will get a sizable normie audience. I will say that it's definitely the weakest or superhero content that James Gunn has been involved with. Though, to be fair, his bar for superhero content is very, very high. Like Guardians is my favorite trilogy in the MCU, for example. So make of that what you will.
Okay. In a signature style, James Gunn takes on the original superhero in the newly imagined DC universe with a singular blend of epic action, heart, and humor, delivering a Superman who's driven by compassion and inherent belief in the goodness of humankind. The movie stars Gavin Cornsman in dual Superman Clark Kent. It should be Clark Kent Superman, but okay. Rachel Bro.
At least they didn't say Kal-El.
Fair enough. Brosnahan. Okay, I'm not good.
I think it's Brosnahan. Yeah.
As Lois Lane and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Also appearing are Eddie Gathegi, Anthony Carrigan, Nathan Fillion, Isabella Merced, Skylar Gisonodo, Sarah Sampaio, Maria Gabriela de Faria, Wendell Price, Alan Tudyk, Priya Taylor Vince, Neva Howell, and Millie Alcock. Superman arrives in theaters on July 11th, 2025. Okay.
I will say that the Justice League members that we see in the movie are very, very fun. I think there's probably a little bit too much of them, but
hey, Dalton.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You know how when you say you're not going to spoil anything, and while you don't technically do, you do talk about the movie a lot.
Sorry.
No, I just wanted to know.
I'll shut up.
No, I wasn't me trying to be a dick. I was just pointing that out that you really got a lot of things to say about this movie.
It's still very fresh in my mind. I only watched it like midway through the day yesterday.
Huh. Okay. I'm not. You know what, man? Okay. Hey, after we get through this next article, before we do the other two things, just for time purposes,
Mm-hmm.
we should sit here and brainstorm. Not pun not intended.
But
Shut up. How we do the DCU. I know we've done it a few times, but I kind of actually just want to sit here and genuinely talk about it.
Okay, that works.
Just because we're technically already halfway through our
Yeah,
stuff.
we're moving at a pretty solid clip today. Interestingly,
Yeah, it's actually surprising.
Well, I think it's because the rants that I would go on involve spoiling shit, and I don't want to do that too much.
I mean, hey, if you can remember them for next week, you can have all the time you want.
I'm probably going to watch it at least once again before we do, just so I know, just so everything's still fresh in my mind and shit.
I mean,
I'm not going to see it in the theater. I'm going to pirate it a second time, but
no, I know. I don't know if I would go watch it again to like a day or so before, because I'd have to convince someone to come with me because I don't drive.
I suspect you will. I suspect you will have strong enough opinions on the movie that it won't fade from your mind very quickly.
To be fair, we always do reviews a week after I've watched a movie, just so
you have time to think about stuff.
Yeah, so
I'm hoping I'm on it. This is one of those scenarios where I'm actually hoping we disagree on the thing because I want you to be able to enjoy this.
It never tends to be the case, man. All right, so again, Dalton sent this to me. James Gunn was from thatplay.com, written by Marvin Montanaro, published July 6th, 2025. James Gunn confirms Superman is about politics and decline of American kindness. Says screw them to jerks who get offended. Okay, so minus the politics thing, I actually wouldn't be too upset with the decline of American kindness, or I guess.
Yeah, that premise works for a Superman movie or a Superman thing in general because Clark is the avatar of like, aw shucks, mom baseball apple pie wholesomeness. Damn it.
Well, okay, even then, I would actually be willing to replace the American with human kindness.
Yeah, because everyone is the world. To borrow a phrase from Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, the world is getting crazier out there by the day. That's probably more true now than it was in 2019. It was already very, very true in 2019.
Right.
I actually think that focusing on American kindness specifically is a little bit unfair to America, actually, because no matter where you go in the world today,
it's bitterness, cynicism, mistrust. Well, distrust, I guess, would actually be the better term. Fear of your neighbor, violence,
fascists hiding around every corner, etc.
It's just fuck, man.
Or to make a reference that Brainstorm is probably going to want to shoot me over. It seems today that all you see is violence in movies and sex on TV. Sorry, had to be done. I could not do it.
I was trying to At first, it sounded like Go Loony song from A Killing Joke. But okay, it took me a second to register. It's been a long time since I've watched Family Guy, so
yeah, it's been a long time for me too because about 5 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago at a stretch, I think Seth MacFarlane realized he hated working on Family Guy and tried his damnedest to get it canceled by doing increasingly more cringe storylines.
For one thing, he's not really in the writer's room anymore. He's just doing the voices.
Yeah.
And he has been I think he has said many times that he's not really into doing it anymore because they just keep it going, and he's just kind of had
His
that
cre-
burnout.
his creative energies are more focused on the Orville, which, to be fair, as a fan of Star Trek who is very dissatisfied with the way Star Trek has been handled ever since the J.J. Abrams movies, I would prefer Seth MacFarlane put his best efforts towards the Orville, because the Orville is the closest thing we have to modern day Star Trek that
Honestly,
actually is supposed to be what that means.
just any new project he ever finds, like he starts to do, he seems to have more enthusiasm and effort put into it.
Well, and as somebody who liked Family Guy when it was in its actual heyday, I'm one of those people who thinks it was a mistake to make Stewie no longer an evil genius. I really liked Evil Genius Stewie. Yes, probably because I am also an evil quasi-British genius from time to time.
Okay,
And yes,
a
yes,
quasi-British,
my my
quasi-British.
fa- my favorite scene in all of Family Guy is the hotel room scene, where the guys in the next room are like mobsters going through a resource drop, and Stewie goes, "For God's sake, there's only one way to put an end to this nuisance. He's wearing a wire." That is my favorite scene, and that
My
episode
favorite,
is my favorite episode of the entire show so far.
my favorite scene with Stewie is the one where Brian owes him money that he lent him.
Ah. I also, to be fair, really like the cutaway gag where Stewie goes to see the Will Ferrell Bewitched remake and goes through the comedic, like, droopy dog in classic Looney Tunes montage of going through all the bits and pieces of getting a ladder and then finding Will Ferrell's house and then punching him in the face when he answers the door. That is also a really great Family Guy scene.
Anyway,
Yeah, but moving on. Yeah.
editor's note: this article was originally written based on early coverage of James Gunn's Times of London interview, including framing by Variety and others. While Gunn did say hold on.
I should have just gotten the Times article, but I didn't think of that. Sorry.
When Gunn did say a key scene in Superman is about politics and used the phrase "screw them," his tone was more reflective than confrontational, and he emphasized that the film is for everyone. We stand by our reporting, but feel it's important to clarify that some early media interpretations may have overstated the political framing of his comments. That's fair.
And yeah, and honestly, that's fair. However, as someone who is a YouTuber and who weekly does these kind of segments where we talk about the mainstream media being a bunch of hacks, James, it would very much help if you thought through the implications of how your shit was going to be interpreted, because I know you're a very crass, a very bombastic, a very, blunt and straight shooting guy. Especially, the guy James Gunn got his start in fucking trauma films, for God's sake. But James, I know you're used to being a creative and not a spokesman, but you are essentially in the Kevin Feige adjacent role now, and so you cannot afford to say anything that is going to sound, after the mainstream media gets done with it, like you're trying to alienate your audience. Because, as I said a couple weeks ago, James, at this point, you cannot afford to alienate any portion of your audience. DC has been playing on hard mode since 2013, and the superhero genre itself, is now playing on mostly hard mode, because even the MCU is roughly in the same position as the DCEU was a decade ago now. So you basically have to fire on all cylinders from the get-go, or you're fucked. And I don't want to see you be fucked, even though, yeah, there's reasons to criticize the movie. Moving on.
Okay. With mere days to release, director and DC Studios co-head James Gunn has finally said the quiet part out loud. Yes, the new Superman movie is about politics. In a new interview with Times of London, Gunn opened up about the themes at the heart of his DC Universe reboot, and he made it abundantly clear that this version of the Man of Steel won't shy away from commentary. Okay, again, I wouldn't be too. I'm not even upset about it. I'm more just wondering if it's implemented in a way that makes sense both for the character and the world. That's my issue, to be fair.
The world, yes. The character, your mileage may vary. I did not like it, but then again, most of my understanding of Superman is thanks to Brainstormer, and so he may have a more nuanced take than me.
I honestly should send you videos describing Superman's character and stuff. Now that I think about it, just so you have a more well-rounded view.
I don't suspect that I would end up watching those. Just being blunt. Like you have convinced me there is more to Superman than I initially thought when we met. But aside from me finding him very, very attractive, and given a more multiversal portal and some pink kryptonite, I could do all sorts of things that would make you forget Lois's name, Clark.
Side tangent. Regarding pink kryptonite, because I have thought about this when I've looked into it, because I was just curious about it.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people do skits about it. Funny, mind you, but
yeah, especially that one dude.
Lamplake?
The all the different kryptonite series where Supes finds Bruce attractive.
Shit. I didn't know you would watch. I didn't know you watched those. Holy shit! Dude, that guy is so fucking funny. He's also made. Yeah, Lamplake is his name. Lamplake. If anyone's curious, Lamplake, good, amazing dude. Funny, but he's also super creative. He's actually making his own little DC universe for his YouTube page. He did a whole 2-hour-long Batman short film that connects to Crisis on Two Earths movie. It's his own little take. It's really good, and he's continuing it. It's really fucking cool. I would recommend it. But anyway,
yeah, he shows up in my he shows up in YouTube Shorts when I'm scrolling through those sometimes.
Yeah, that's how I came across him on TikTok first, and then I found his YouTube, and fantastic dude.
Yeah, but give me a multiversal portal and some pink kryptonite, Clark, and I will make you forget Lois ever existed. I swear.
Anyway.
And no, I'm not just going to date John, because John Kent in the comics is a sociopath, so fuck him.
Okay.
Granted, that's mostly Brian Michael Bendis' fault, but yeah.
So regarding side tangent about the pink kryptonite, I have this theory about it too, because I would have to look in the comics, but the thing is, I don't think it just turns him gay, because if he just turned gay, he wouldn't act the way he does, which is super aggressive in his flamboyancy. Correct? Like he becomes infatuated.
Well, they already kind of made a distinction between pink kryptonite and periwinkle kryptonite that just make him quote unquote fabulous.
Okay.
Although,
my point,
to be fair, I could do without the fabulous, because you're already wonderful enough as is, Clark.
Right. But Don, bear with me in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just because more or less, gay people are just normal people. They just prefer the same gender as themselves.
Right? I wish that writers in general would get that memo, but yes.
Okay. And this is I'm asking my resident gay token dude here for the podcast.
Yeah.
So.
And behold, as I bequeath the card unto Brainstormer, so he can say whatever the fuck he likes.
Thank you. But going off the limited knowledge, it's limited. Okay, so bear that in mind in this theory that I am proposing.
Mm-hmm.
Pink kryptonite, with the limited knowledge I have, pink kryptonite not only turns Superman gay, but a very aggressive gay.
I mean, there is a part of me that thinks it can work to some degree, because Clark he's always been wholesome to a fault sweetheart. So
no, I know,
but I see what you mean with the flamboyancy. He does he does get a little super thanks for asking when
Well, no,
the
okay,
pink
no, that's
kryptonite
not
is
what that's not what I meant. Is that he's very forward and aggressive in trying to mingle with.
Yes. Also, Clark, again, give me some pink kryptonite, and I will not turn you down.
But you see my point though is like if he just turned gay, he'd still act like regular Clark.
Okay, I think I see what you're getting at. You think that some of the effects of pink kryptonite are an extension of red kryptonite's aggression factor?
Yes.
That makes sense. Although, again, Clark, you don't need
Well,
to pursue me hard if
to be fair, pink is a lighter shade of red.
a lighter red, so it does
So
work. Which makes me have questions about if pink kryptonite changes his sexuality, does red kryptonite also change his sexuality? What the fuck?
no,
Because
that just amplifies it.
based on our theory, it would make sense that red kryptonite would also have a orientation switching capacity
I
to it, at
think
least to some degree.
so. How I think that happens, and don't worry, we'll get back to the article. Don't worry about folks. We'll do that. But I think red kryptonite on its base level, just pure red kryptonite, right? Just drastically amps up his aggression. While pink kryptonite, which is a lighter shade of red, the added while it does make him more aggressive, it's the variation of it. It's just a variation of red kryptonite. Yes.
I have an interesting potential way that we can resolve this.
Uh huh.
What if red kryptonite, in addition to amping his aggressive tendencies, also makes him interested in like BDSM?
God.
Because that would
Okay, we're done with this rabbit hole. We're
make logically continuous sense if we're going with the pink is a lighter shade of red thing.
It is a weird fucking rabbit hole we're just going into.
You to be fair, and I agree with you. That it makes total sense that pink is in some sense a lighter shade of red because, well, it is.
Yeah. Okay. I
But
brought it up, but
yeah, assuming we're playing the ball where it lies, that's how I would resolve the connection between those two. Red kryptonite makes him aggressive and makes him essentially a dom in the like 50 Shades of Grey sense. And
okay.
pink
I also want
kryptonite
to point this out from what
makes him.
Sorry, I also want to point this out with the 50 Shades of Grey comment. I have
50 Shades is a terrible representation of BDSM. It's just the one that everybody knows. That's why I went with it.
which incredibly sucks. Like I have heard
Yeah,
people.
yeah, no.
Actually, I have heard people from the community. I've just.
There is a guy by the name of Dom Smith who did a takedown of 50 Shades of Grey and
Yeah,
explicitly went into how terrible it is.
Yeah, no one really
As
likes
representation.
it. It's actually been mentioned that some people have taken inspiration from that, and it's not like people don't like
Yeah,
those.
no, it's not. It's really not. I have fallen down that particular rabbit hole on occasion, and the relationship between an actual dom and an actual sub is actually fairly wholesome.
Okay,
Because
so funny enough, I actually have come across a fuck it, you know what? There is a comic series called Sunstone that does that. That actually goes through the actual like. It's probably one of the only good representations of BDSM and the relationship between sub and dom. Uh, if anyone's interested in like, it's actually it's made by the same guy who did the Harleen comic. If anyone like the DC Black label, like art and everything. So if anyone like Harleen, I'd also recommend like that. It's an independent comic. You know, like I think it was Image that published it. But okay. Anyway, we're moving back. This is one of
we,
our weirdest.
we went down the rabbit hole, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, if you ever need proof that we are in fact just that nerdy sometimes, we have now headcanoned the relationship between pink kryptonite and red kryptonite such that pink kryptonite makes Superman what would be referred to in the gay community as a bull, and red kryptonite, if circumstances ever permitted him to get busy with anyone while on red kryptonite, he would be into BDSM. That is a thing we did with our lives today. And it's recorded for all time for everyone to see. I love doing these things on the live stream so that it's there forevermore. Oh, I love it.
I am so glad no one knows my actual identity. Sometimes.
I mean, I do. So
yeah, so you
if we ever if we ever meet up, I will be razzing you about this. To be fair,
I'm glad I don't have a public persona. Like yeah. I'm publicly known. Like yeah. Sometimes I say the most weirdest shit on this stream, and I'm just thinking if anyone saw this that I knew, like, fuck.
There are days where I kind of resent my family for not watching the show, but there are also days where I'm like, God, I am glad that my family doesn't watch this show.
Yeah. Anyway.
Especially my dad's family, because my dad's family actually don't know that I'm gay yet. So that would be a awkward conversation to need to have.
Okay, anyway. I mean, Superman is the story of America, Gunn said, though it should also be noted that Gunn and DC have taken extreme care to omit Superman's classic American way motto from the film's promotion. To be fair, again, the Fleischer cartoon kind of popularized that. It wasn't actually in the original comics.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So I'm fine with that. I think trying to supplement that is kind of been the issue because it doesn't have the same ring to
it. If they had left out the phrasing entirely, that would have been one thing. But they didn't leave out the phrasing; they just cut out the American way part, which is a total cop out and a thing that it's one of those decisions that I think is trying to please everyone, but will end up pleasing no one. Which, unfortunately, I think is like if I had to give like my thoughts on Superman a subheader, that would be I think that would be it. It tries so hard to please everyone that it ends up pleasing no one.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Burped a little.
Yeah.
Okay. God damn it! What? No, I'm not gonna ask why I'm tired. I know why the fuck I'm tired. I had a long day at work.
Mm-hmm.
I really gotta stop busting my ass at that job.
Yes, you do.
I'm not gonna. I know me. I'm not gonna not be a good worker.
Well, I, as your friend, reserve the right to own your ass unless and until you find a significant other willing to do it for you. So, as your friend, I am claiming temporary ownership of your ass until you find a significant other, and I say that you should stop hurting yourself.
I'm not hurting myself. I'm just exhausted. That's it.
Uh-huh. That's knowing how likely you are to go above and beyond on things, because I know you. I suspect I suspect you're wearing yourself out and running yourself ragged just because you don't want to do a substandard job. But that ultimately leads to you doing more work than you feasibly need to.
Okay, to be fair, I'm often paired with a bunch of morons that really don't get the job done right or forget to do something that needs to be done. So I end up having to do like 5 or 6 things that really like 2 other people are supposed to be fucking doing.
Uh-huh. Which leads back to the as your friend and the temporary owner of your ass.
Bitch, you wish you owned this ass.
I say you should I say you should stop hurting yourself on other people's behalf.
I'm not hurting myself. I'm just trying to make sure the job gets fucking done. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Just periodically reminding you it is not your job to cover other people's bullshit. Especially because, frankly, they deserve to get in trouble for not doing their jobs correct, and you doing their jobs for them, or trying to, is only covering their ass. I notice you're not telling me I'm wrong. Are you still there? Is the other question, I suppose. Dude?
What?
Did you actually go to sleep, or are you being theatrical about this?
Yes.
To which question? Or to which premise?
Yes. I was half asleep.
Okay, well...
But the snoring was for dramatic effect.
Okay, fair enough. But point being, we should move on so that you don't actually die on the stream, because I don't have the capacity to turn the stream off if you fall asleep, so we should keep moving.
That's fair. I really gotta... I probably should actually give you access, now I think about it.
I don't even know how you would do that, though, without needing to pay for StreamYard, and I don't want to make you pay for shit. Although, in fairness, if you did decide to upgrade your StreamYard subscription, we could go back to doing, like, one-shots and stuff. Which would be nice.
I've been considering it, but I kind of need to build up the money so I can buy a house.
Right,
so.
and that's why I'm just suggesting it for the sake of suggesting it. I don't expect you to pay for it, especially because I don't as yet have
cheap.
money to yeah.
Well, I got money. It's a whole thing.
You don't like spending it, and you want to save shit up, which is fine. And if my disability application goes through, hopefully the government will stop being cunts for like 5 seconds and let the disability money go through. If the disability money goes through, I can contribute whatever money I have left after rent and groceries to the channel fund. But realistically, I don't think that will be much, because groceries are a son of a bitch, and rent will probably also be a son of a bitch. And for some reason, I only qualify for like $840 a month. Yeah.
Hello?
Still here. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. It's.
Hello?
I'm here. Hello. Can you not hear me?
You're very robotic and like.
I think it's on your end, because I can hear you fine.
Yeah, no, it's definitely on my end.
Today on the technical difficulties portion of the program, just as we were talking about upgrading StreamYard.
To be fair, it hasn't been like this in a while, so.
Anyway, back to the article so we can move things forward.
Yeah, I think I'm good right now. I think we're good.
Okay.
All right. He's an immigrant that came from other places and populated the country, but for me, it is mostly a story that says basic human kindness is value, and is something we have lost. Okay, we already covered this in the last.
Yeah, again, the immigrant label applies more to Kara because she actually has an established connection to her people and her culture. Clark does not.
Right, and I do also want to point this out. There is a scholar who kind of made superheroes be recognized as least somewhat in academia.
Mm-hmm.
He's famous. I can't remember his name though. But
I think I know the guy you mean, but I can't think of his name either.
But he, for a college dissertation, so he could teach a course about superheroes or comic books in general.
And that became so popular that multiple universities now teach like comics and philosophy or pop culture and philosophy class, which is bait.
Mhm. But as part of a dissertation or like a pitch, whatever you call it, to the board.
Bless you.
Thank you. He asked what the story of Superman was, which was a baby who was sent from a dying world, came to Earth, by raised by humans, and became the savior of the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he asked the question, "What is the story of Moses?" Which
Essentially, same thing.
more or less, yeah.
Set up the Nile River by his mother. Picked
If you ever
up
went,
by
okay,
the pharaoh, and the major difference between Clark and Moses is Moses was adopted by the pharaoh and thus grew up rich before like his teenage years.
yeah, middle class
Whereas
was Clark.
whereas Clark came up in a very rural, very living
Midwest.
within their means older couple. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the point still stands though. It's like the general overview of it, really.
Yeah, there are certainly more parallels to Moses and Clark than there are between Jesus and Clark or between God and Clark.
Oh
Which
my god!
people need to stop fucking around with the super God thing. He
Honestly,
is
at this point, I feel like just as I don't like being spiteful, I really don't. But just to be a spiteful asshole to all those jackasses who conflate Superman to Jesus or whatever, the whole Super Christ bullshit,
mhm.
make Superman Jewish. Okay, like legitimately, just have that be his actual fucking religion. I know
Which,
it'd be stupid, but fuck, it makes
but
more sense.
it would at least embody some aspect of what Lee and Schuster intended because and this is the other thing about modern day writers being art school educated hacks. I don't remember if it was Siegel or if it was Schuster, but one of them explicitly said that one of the influences on the idea of Superman was kind of a self-insert thing, and like him feeling kind of salty for not getting girls and stuff.
Yeah,
Which honestly is a much more relatable and human reasoning behind something than all the art school themes and symbols hackery that modern day writers do.
but again, man,
Yeah, it would be amazingly helpful if people remembered the man part of Superman. And I've done a rant similar to this dozens of times, but I'm doing it again for completeness' sake. All of Clark's abilities are just human abilities taken to their logical extreme. He does not have any abilities that are actually like deific in any way that most people would consider. He doesn't have any like psychic capacity for omniscience. He doesn't have reality warping abilities. He can't control the weather. He can't shapeshift or like be in multiple places at once. He can't use energy projection, his heat vision notwithstanding, and even that is just like human eyesight taken to its logical extreme. Same thing with the super breath thing. It's just
yeah.
breathing taken to its logical extreme. There are
Um,
actual there are actual deities in the DC universe that have the abilities that Clark lacks and that are much closer to gods than he is. And even among like the not explicitly deific characters, there are characters who fit better, like for example, Captain Atom and or Dr. Manhattan, because Dr. Manhattan actually is an energy being who has the capacity to see through like multiple dimensions of time and shit and can be multiple places at once and can like manipulate reality on the like subatomic level. Those
uh,
abilities are far closer to the abilities of a deity than the abilities of Clark, which are
well,
basically just the abilities of a human taken to their like platonic extreme or
yeah,
neoplatonic extreme. Yeah.
All right.
Moving on.
Yeah. This statement has stoked the fears of many that Superman will serve as a cultural and political progressive parable rather than a traditional action-driven escapist superhero. Okay.
Mm,
Let me. Can I?
go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think mine's shorter than yours.
Yeah.
But in response to that last part, now don't get me wrong, there are superhero movies that do that are basically just popcorn flicks. I won't deny that. But the ones that are traditionally more remembered or are venerated are ones that do actually have something to say, not in a political sense or cultural sense. Well, okay, cultural possibly, but
culture isn't the point of them.
right.
Is the thing.
Thank you. But always have a deeper meaning, something human to say, something that exposes, discusses, dissects, and ultimately reveals something about the general human experience. Like, okay, I'll list off a couple here. The first two X-Men movies by Bryan Singer. You know, just how the X-Men usually are, right? Although it was a little darker, I would say, comparative to like other superhero movies that came out at the time.
Yeah.
I want to say trying to think of the more modern one, the more recent one I can think of in that list. I know there are others, but they're kind of escaping me. But the one that is most recent in my mind is Thunderbolts, which tackled a lot of ideas and discussion of mental health and things like that, which
depression and coping with trauma and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, I think Thunderbolts was the tiniest bit too heavy-handed on that.
I still think
it made things explicit that would have been better off had they remained implicit. I think is the best way I can put that.
I think what I like is obviously it was told more from the character's perspective than it was just like talking points. I think that's what
I liked the like exploration of Bob as a character. It's just that there were moments in the movie where it felt like the writers were standing over you with the theme club going, "We are talking about mental health, god damn it."
I still think it handled better than some other movies that have tried to talk about that
stuff. Oh
stuff.
yeah, it's definitely like I said at the time, Thunderbolts is noteworthy because of how competent it was compared to most of the other movies that were in phases like 5 and 6.
I don't know if this would technically count because it's a series and it's not, and it came out like a little over a decade ago. Daredevil, that was
the Netflix one. I thought you were talking about the Ben Affleck one for a second there.
No.
And then I remembered, wait, it's 2025, which means a decade ago wasn't 2000. It wasn't the 2000s. I'm in some ways I'm doing the stereotypical like millennial who doesn't want to admit he's gotten older thing, because to me like the 80s will always be 20 years ago and the 90s will always be 10 years ago on some level. So like, that can just be that can just be me not coping well with the idea that I'm almost 30 in a little bit more than 2 weeks. Fuck.
You're not allowed to kill yourself. You know that, right?
I know. I mean, obviously, because you would be salty about it in general, but I came to this conclusion one of the last times I had suicidal ideation, which is that because I serve Queen Mab and have bound myself to her, my life continues or ends based on her will, and killing myself before she is ready to have me die would in some sense be cheating her, and no force on this earth or any other can convince me that trying to cheat Queen Mab of anything will ever be a good idea or a non-torturous and fatal idea. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not.
yeah.
I am not going to cheat my queen by trying to take my life into my own hands. It belongs to her, and it will until she decides that she would rather have me in fairy than on Earth.
Mm. But yeah, Daredevil, like the first 3 seasons, I've heard mixed reviews about Daredevil Born Again, so I'm not too sure of that.
Mhm.
Although I've heard the second season is going to be good because like some things are happening with behind the scenes. But
Born Again wasn't bad, I didn't think.
I think comparative to the 3 seasons on Netflix before, it's not that great. I actually just recently watched a video that was kind of a review of it.
Mm.
Um,
I mean, I obviously liked Agatha more than I liked Born Again, but then again,
yeah, that's fair.
Agatha was
Um,
much more up my alley than Born Again was.
yeah. But yeah,
I want the MCU to take another stab at Iron Fist at some point, because god damn it, Scott Buck fucked Danny Rand in the ass, and not in the fun way. But I'm Tish.
but yeah, no. To say traditional action-driven escapist superhero film is incredibly short-sighted and very limiting of a viewpoint.
Yeah, because there are superhero movies, even though I don't like reducing everything down to my themes. There are superhero movies that are classics on the basis of handling stuff like that. Like off the top of my head, my favorite example of a superhero movie doing politics correctly, V for Vendetta. That movie is a classic because it perfectly encapsulates like a classical liberal trying to fight a neoconservative by way of fascism regime.
You
And
know,
yes, they changed the politics from the comic where V was an anarcho-communist in the Antifa mold, and he was fighting way more explicit fascism. Whereas the people behind the V for Vendetta movie made these political talking points be more in line with like a Voltaire-style classical liberal, and the fascism of Chancellor Sutler in the movie was very heavily kind of the logical extreme or logical extension of the Bushite war on terror, warmongering period in which that movie came out.
right,
But as a result, the movie actually has better and more well-rounded politics than the comic does,
right,
because Alan Moore was an Antifa fuckwit before being an Antifa fuckwit was cool, quote unquote.
right. Okay, moving on, or
Yeah,
unless
moving on.
wait, no, did you have you were going to say some stuff, right?
Um, about the politics thing. All I was gonna say is there is definitely politics in the James Gunn Superman movie. It is my least favorite part of the movie. It has a lot to do with a lot of my commentary around that one moment in the trailers, um, and a lot to do with that summary of the plot that we covered a couple weeks ago, which is unfortunately pretty much accurate. God damn it. Um, Including the monkeys thing. So, James, you should have just laid off the politics. You are not good at. I know there are people who are worse than politics, uh, or worse at politics than you. I just mentioned Alan Moore being an Antifa fuckwit before being an Antifa fuckwit was quote unquote cool. Um, but my God, man, I know you have a chip on your shoulder about cancel culture because of the time you got fired from Guardians for like a hot minute, but you didn't need to use Superman as your mouthpiece, my dude.
Honestly, I would have been much better idea to do Green Arrow.
Honestly, I want that movie now. I want a James Gunn Green Arrow movie
Honestly, given how the you know how,
with all the like old lefty tropes, to borrow a phrase from Justice League Unlimited.
seriously, like that's who Green Arrow is as a character. I mean, granted, he was rewritten that way by Neil Adams,
But
in
it,
what was it, the
but it,
60s or
but it,
70s?
di- but it didn't contradict anything that was pre-established, and it
No,
has
no, no,
since
no.
become a crucial part of its character. Kind of
Okay.
like how
Which kind of makes
everyone and their dog who's read DC's Sandman doesn't have any problem with the stuff that Neil Gaiman added to it because it was so revelatory and so well handled that it just sort of became automatically canon.
okay. To be fair, I'm sorry, little side tangent here. I am genuinely upset they never they tried to go this way in some form or fashion with the CW, but it never felt genuine or in character. Mainly because
Yeah,
they made him the CW's Batman for whatever
the
reason.
the Berlanti verse writing issues is the biggest problem there. Kind of like how I loved seeing John come back in Legends of Tomorrow and in Arrow in that one episode, but they, especially in the latter aspects of Legends of Tomorrow that John was involved in, they did John dirty. And it's only thanks to the charisma and perfect casting of Matt Ryan that made that even remotely tolerable by the end. Yeah, I still will, and again, I realize I'm being old man millennial here, but I will stick my flag in this hill until the day I die. Smallville was better written than the Berlanti verse, and I will be
Um,
taking no questions at this time.
there's a continuation of it in comic form, right?
I know.
Smallville season 11.
Yeah, I know. I yeah, but
To be
yeah,
fair, it's not. To be fair,
Smallville was better. Go ahead. Sorry.
well, the arcs for the comic series were actually supposed to be several seasons. They just call it season 11 because obviously, it was
Because it is a marketable phrasing. Yeah.
yeah. Because okay,
But
because they have sorry, I think it was supposed to be 5 more seasons. I'm not sure because they have everything building up to Final Crisis deal or like an Infinite Crisis deal happening. But they got
it amazes me how long Smallville went on,
10
given
years.
that more like 11 by the end of it.
Well, it was
Um,
what was it, 2000, 2010?
I think it was 2001 or 2 until 2011 ish. I
Hold
think.
on.
Because I know it was before. I know it was before Supernatural was a thing. Because Jensen Ackles actually got his start on the CW as Jason.
Okay, yeah, it was 2001 when it first started. Then season
Okay.
10 ended. Yeah, okay, 2011. Okay, I thought it
Yeah.
was.
I
I thought it was 2010. Okay, never mind.
No. I remember specifically because when I heard that they were going to do JSA on Smallville, I immediately set up my DVR to record it because my boy was there. And by the
Um,
way, um, Pierce Brosnan did great. I am not in any way besmirching Pierce Brosnan's tenure as Doctor Fate, but I really loved Smallville's version of it.
right. Anyway,
And I especially love the retcon that was so good that the aforementioned Pierce Brosnan version swiped it. But I am fine with that just being canon now because that is the very definition of a good retcon, as opposed to the possession retcon, which is the very definition of a shitty retcon.
all right.
It's like an Animaniac style good idea, bad idea. Good
Right.
idea. Giving Dr. Fate a reason to be called Dr. Fate. Bad idea. Making him possessed by Naboo. Moving on.
All right. The statement has stoked the fears of many that Superman will serve as. Or that sorry.
You did.
While Gunn frames the conversation between Clark and Lois from the trailer, and we say argue over Superman's actions overseas to be one of compassion, it's unmistakably wrapped in the language of modern political narratives, particularly on the topic of moral standing.
Yeah. Again, I I wish I had been more wrong. I'm not sure if the way they handle it is going to bother Brainstormer as much as it bothers me because I can see an interpretive argument for his, because I remember back when we were talking about the trailer, you had a way of framing it that you wouldn't object to, and I think they kind of they try to have it both ways is the issue. Um, they try to kind of combine my idea of what it was going to be with your idea of what it was going to be, and it ends up kind of just becoming muddled. So I will be interested to see how your I will be interested to see how your mileage varies from mine on the movie when you see it.
All right. Superman politics front and center. The decision to frame Clark Strang as a metaphor for immigration isn't new, but the Times interview puts Superman squarely in the crosshairs of today's deeply divided political landscape. Okay, again, I just want to preface it. I just want to make sure that everyone understands this. I'm not opposed to Superman appearing in the divided landscape that it is. I think the issue is that it's always coming from the frame perspective of one, like he's in the opposition of one and stands with the other. When in fact, to me, Superman always strikes me as the middle ground between both.
Yeah, Superman is the ultimate humble good guy. He doesn't think his power difference from most people entitles him to have more influence on the world in a political sense, which I think is one of his best qualities. Here though, it again, I hope that Brainstormer finds a way of interpreting the movie that is better than the way I ended up interpreting it. I want my friend to be able to enjoy his character in the same way Black Adam let me enjoy Dr. Fate for 5 minutes and then killed him off and played musical chairs with the helm because we can't fucking avoid doing that for 5 goddamn minutes. But you get what I'm saying. I want Brainstormer to be able to enjoy Superman in the same way I enjoyed Black Adam's take on Dr. Fate. I am. I don't know if he's going to be able to, but he also doesn't overthink things in the way I do, so that might help him in this case.
And very simple.
But being that as it may, I think it was at least intended to be very blunt and very obvious, even if it manages to be good despite that. And again, there are lots of good. There's lots of good here. And James Gunn being James Gunn, his flavor, the stereotypical James Gunn flavor, is occasionally one of those good qualities. Granted, a lot of the other time, the movie tries to be wholesome for 5 minutes, and then somebody quips, and it kind of drains a lot of the wholesomeness from the. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're saying it does the Marvel thing?
A bit. I think there are times where it doesn't it isn't as much of a problem as the Marvel frequently does, but there are also moments where it definitely is a problem and it should have been left out more. Moving on.
All right. When asked about how audiences might react to the film's themes, Gunn didn't hold back. Yes, it plays differently, but it's about human kindness, he said. And obviously, there will be jerks out there who are just not kind and will take it as offensive just because it is about kindness. But screw them. Okay, we already we talked about that.
My only issue there is, James, you can't afford to be saying screw you to any portion of your hypothetical audience. You should be doing your very damnedest to make sure everyone who wants to see the movie comes to see the movie and enjoys it. Moving on.
Sorry, I was taking a drink.
Mm-hmm.
Begins on a mission, the film will explore morality, conflict, and clashing values, particularly between Superman and Lois Lane. Okay, see, that specifically, I don't have a problem with. It's just more so how it's executed would be the issue I would have.
I think there is a bit of a problem in the sense that I think having them be so opposed to each other is a bit of a problem in the sense that it makes them, it kind of undercuts their chemistry a bit, or at least it did for me.
God damn it. Okay,
It might not for you.
Spoilers, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Yes, it's about politics, but on another level, it's about morality. Gunn continued, do you never kill no matter what, which is what Superman believes, or do you have some balance, as Lois believes? It's really about the relationship and the way different opinions on basic moral beliefs can tear two people apart. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, see, it's the tearing people apart thing that's the issue.
Weird thing is, I read this the last article, and I didn't catch that. Okay, it's a striking turn from the classically apolitical hero who once stood for truth, justice, the American way. God damn it. I'm not getting into that. We already covered that. We already talked about that. Fuck off.
Yeah, moving on.
Okay. In fact, Gunn's comments suggest a film more interested in questioning America's identity than celebrating it. Okay, to be fair, most Superman movies never really did that.
And also to be fair,
well, okay, actually, I think some of the sequels of
especially Quest for Peace, which there are moments. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna say Superman movies never did that. Granted, there are very few Superman movies, so
and most of the ones that did that were not good ones. Cough, cough, Quest for Peace. Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Damn it.
Sorry.
Fuck, if it comes to me. Okay, I think I remember what I was gonna say now. Except in the new one for nukes, read the mainstream media / social media cancel culture thing is kind of the main A plot of the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, moving on.
It's a striking turn, prompting some longtime fans to wonder if this Superman ever even stands for anything distinctly American. Okay. As a Superman fan, I do not give a and as an American, I do not give a shit that Superman stands for America. Okay? I don't think he ever really did. Well,
obviously during the war years, we had Nazis to be fighting and what have you.
Right,
but
he stands more for.
Go ahead.
Okay. In my opinion, I want that to be clear. This is my opinion and my interpretation, how I have read Superman and always viewed him. Superman stands for just the common good. His
principles are more universal than they are particular to any one particular place. Which again, I think is to his credit. Because the alternative would be Superman essentially doing what Injustice Superman does and taking over because he can, which is bad and he should not do under any circumstances. It didn't even make sense when it happened in Injustice. We both have gone into detail about how Injustice would work so much better if it were a Batman story than a Superman story. Especially given like death in the family and those kind of storylines, having like instead of having it be Lois in Injustice, it should have been one of the Robins, or hell, maybe Alfred. it being Alfred would actually, I think, be the most impactful. Like, if you can still have the same motif, like Joker can splice in Scarecrow's fear toxin and maybe poison ivy spores, and maybe, like, imagine a world where Bruce ended up accidentally beating Alfred to death, and then um went on kind of an authoritarian tear in Justice Society from that. I think that would make more sense as a story, and would be more like thematically appropriate for the character than it does with Superman. Anyway, moving along.
Mm-hmm. Divided reception before release. Guns N' Roses will likely add fuel to an already volatile debate around Superman and politics. Critics of recent superhero films have pointed to Hollywood's increasing tendency to inject overt political themes into beloved franchises, often at the expense of broad audience appeal. Okay, I would actually broad audience appeal. Okay, fine, but I would also argue at the expense of uh
The
fuck's the word?
storytelling and the in-universe logic in general.
Yes. Well, I had something. Fuck.
Sorry.
No, your points are valid. I'm just there's something I was going to mention. At the expense of, I don't want to say art because that sounds pretentious, but
Enjoyment, maybe, or quality.
heart. That's what I was going to say.
Mm.
You got confused there. At the expense of the heart of combining with what Dolan said, the story and stuff like that. That's always been the issue because it often turn characters into mouthpieces instead of characters or anything. Yeah, it's just like I don't know, man. It's like it's
They
weird.
don't.
Like
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like the thing I don't mind. Like, again, I don't mind when either politics or talking points or ideas, not themes, ideas are introduced into a story. But the way I think that it naturally makes the most sense is by having the characters experience those ideas, talking points, and having it told from their perspective, and we get their perspective on those things.
Like, as an example, the way Black Adam handled the relationship between Black Adam and the Justice Society and the people of Kahndaq, that was really well done because it wasn't trying to pull my themes and my allegory. It was just, this is a thing that would make sense within the universe as read. And as a result, that is one of the many reasons why I really like Black Adam. Moving on, though.
Mm-hmm. With the DC brand already struggling for the box office traction following recent flops like The Flash and Blue Beetle. Okay, don't lump Blue Beetle in there. There's actually a genuinely good movie in Blue Beetle. I think.
Yep, there is. It bombed because Warner Brothers decided to basically sacrifice all of the remaining, like, in between phase movies so that they could hype up the new one. And as somebody who really, really, really liked Black Adam, fuck you for doing that. Because had they not made the stupid, like, phase one Gods and Monsters video and hyped that up to hell, I think Black Adam actually would have made a decent amount of money, and I want to see the world in which they decided to go for a more soft reboot and a less hard reboot, by incorporating elements of stuff like Wonder Woman, Shazam, and Black Adam and stuff. Because, and to to borrow a talking point from Angry Joe, having actually seen James Gunn's Superman movie, mind you, I think, and this is no shame to David Cornsweat, I am with the group of people, whether they be Snyder Bros or not Snyder Bros, who think that regardless of whatever else may be up in the air or wrong or conflicting about James Gunn's Superman, I would have liked to have seen James Gunn's Superman with Henry Cavill, not just with Henry Cavill starring, but with Henry Cavill's actual input, because to his credit, Henry Cavill is a massive fucking fanboy, and he knows like the essence of the characters he's playing. And I would have liked to have seen a version of James Gunn's Superman that had somebody like Henry Cavill there to make the fan argument, more or less, if you know what I mean. Like in the same way that he kind of fixed the horse scene in The Witcher, I think a lot of the scenes in James Gunn's Superman would have been better if Henry had been there going, this doesn't really make much sense for Superman, we should tweak it in this way and that way and the other way. Moving on, though.
So I was writing something down real quick.
Yep.
All right. Some fans worry that Gunn's ideological framing might alienate more viewers than it attracts. I assume it kind of already did.
Wait, okay, here's the thing. The thing that they keep quoting from him, which is the immigration thing, does not show up here at all. Like, in all seriousness, there is almost nothing of the immigration thing. The main heavy-handed politics here is mainstream media hit pieces / cancel culture, which I think might be James Gunn kind of using Clark as a self-insert character to some degree because of his issues with getting canceled thanks to the Twitter joke that went viral and stuff. I think that's the most heavy-handed politics in here, is the like anti-cancel culture stuff.
Mm. Moving on, or
Yeah, moving on.
okay. I just wasn't sure if you were taking a breath or.
No, I could have said more, but it would have spoiled shit. So
Okay. Gunn appears unbothered by the possibility of backlash, but with early social media chatter already pointing to concerns about tone, message, and deviation from the Superman myth. Okay, deviation. I assume that is going to happen with adaptations. So I'm not really a big issue of deviation with Superman with mythos in general. I think it becomes so radically different that it's basically just this whole thing.
There is one moment that I know is going to piss you off.
Damn it! Why the fuck do you gotta say that shit, man? Now I'm anticipating it.
I'm going to leave it ambiguous because I'm curious if you will. I'm curious if you will note if you will focus on the thing I think will piss you off, or if something else will piss you off as a result of this. But there is definitely one moment that if you catch it, I think will piss you off. I don't know if you will catch it or not, though.
So if I catch this, and it is as bad as I assume you think it is, enough to warn me about it, I'm gonna strangle you.
I know. Do you want me to go into it further, or do you want me to just shut the fuck up?
No, I don't want to be spoiled because I want to try and enjoy this movie, although you were making it very hard at the moment. Want that?
Okay. So I will shut the fuck up, and it'll be interesting to see if the moment I'm thinking of catches your ire or if something else will. Moving on.
So, fuck. Okay. It's unclear whether the director's defiance will translate into ticket sales. The film stars David Crossman, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor alongside a large ensemble with. Okay, it's just yeah. But despite the impressive cast, it may be Gunn's vision and his unapologetic commitment to making a Superman political statement that defines the movie's legacy. Whether the legacy will be seen as bold reinvention or ideological overreach remains to be seen.
I don't think it's going to be either, to be honest with you, because I think the average normie audience, a lot of the stuff that could, a lot of the stuff that could be annoying to the average normie audience is probably going to go over people's heads, because most people are going to come at this from the perspective of it just being a popcorn movie. I don't know where. I think the more invested you are in the mythos or in the like wider implications, the more it's probably going to bug you. But most people aren't that, so who knows?
All right, give me a second. I'm trying to get a photo for us to, because we are, as I stated, Don and I, in real time, are going to reinvent the DCU.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just give me a second. I already started writing some stuff down as we were talking.
Mm-hmm. I figured when you were writing stuff, I figured it was either you were gonna wind up taking influences from what we were saying for our projects, or you were thinking of the rewriting thing.
To be fair, I have ideas for the project that I've told you about, and you've kind of helped me a little bit on that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
With basically rewrites for a whole thing already, so
Mm-hmm.
I more or less don't need help with that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'll just get your help with things I think would be up your alley more so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, just give me a second. Get the photo.
And I do wonder what this movie is going to inspire in you, because I know you, and I know basically everything you see is fodder for ideas, more or less.
Yeah, I can't control that ever. I don't. Son of a bitch! It's always so fucking small. God damn it! Hold on. Just gotta get a good fucking image. Actually, that's not bad. Hello?
Yep, still here.
Okay. Internet has me freaking out, so.
Yep.
Come on.
When is the 18th?
Well, it's the 11th today, so you got it's a week from now.
Okay, so on next Friday, Actually, it probably won't affect us because we don't normally do stuff on Friday. But next Friday, I have a doctor's appointment to hopefully do the doctor side of the disability thing.
Okay. Alex Ross painting.
Alex Ross is always a win.
Honestly, just because, for one thing, he actually gets models and stuff to help him with the designs of the paintings, like actual costumes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get the photorealistic look. I genuinely want people to do. I to be fair, I honestly just want to see some. I know some people don't like the cloth costumes, but given how either over designed, bulky, or just generally what's the word?
Unflattering.
I was gonna go unflattering, but I think there's another word. What's the opposite of stylish?
What would be the opposite of stylish?
I'll look it up. Give me a second.
It used to be standard practice to draw and paint with models, and I wish we would go back to that because that helps a lot actually when you have models to go off of.
Okay, unfashionable, I guess. Yeah, just modern superhero costumes in cinema. They don't look as good as I think they could be. Like some work, I will say, but oftentimes they're too realistic, I guess is the best way I could say it.
The one exception that I have is actually the suit from the military armor suit from Captain America First Avenger. I wish he'd used that more.
Yeah, that works. That works. I like that suit. I think that's a good blend of modern, relatively obviously because it was set in the 40s.
But I think it was a mistake to focus on the Star Spangled Man suit instead of the actual tactical arm of the military suit in First Avenger.
Yeah. Anyway, so we kind of already figured out the. I mean, okay, so I think I pitched before because we've talked about how to do DCU multiple times.
Yeah.
I think obviously Gods and Monsters, we could do that, but I think the issue is that. I think starting
if we do gods and monsters, there actually need to be more gods and or monsters.
Right. The issue is starting off with that is kind of the issue because most of that stuff is in kind of a niche kind of area.
Yeah.
The DC. So
most people are not me.
Yeah.
And that's probably a good thing. When I hear the title Gods and Monsters, immediately go, fuck yes, gives me all of it, because Gods and Monsters is precisely my shit. That's one of the reasons I was so annoyed at the actual slate when we got the actual slate, because this storyline you're calling Gods and Monsters seems to have a dearth of both gods and monsters, and that bugs me.
Right.
Only Creature Commandos and Swamp Thing really qualify in my head as something god and monster.
I have given my lengthy opinions multiple times on how I feel about Creature Commandos.
And we both agree that doing the metaphorical god thing with Superman is rage-inducing stupidity and should not be done. But there are actual gods and shit in the DC universe.
I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, but the logical thing for me that would have made the most sense after the DCEU would be hold off on all the characters that got the movies in the DCEU, and because it looked like that's what he was building up to, focus on the Justice League International more so.
That would be useful. in a hypothetical alternate universe, it might also mean we would have gotten a decent Sandman adaptation instead of what the fuck Netflix did with it. Because for those that don't remember, there is actually a whole issue in the first arc of Neil Gaiman's Sandman where Dream interacts with Scott Free and the Martian Manhunter, and it is one of the best issues in the entire story. And yes, I am aware of how many awesome Sandman issues there are, but I still maintain that Passengers is probably one of my favorites, specifically because it focuses on the JLI and interactions with characters from that. And honestly, not for nothing, but Martian Manhunter needs a movie just in general.
Yeah.
We need to stop shortchanging John, and Mr. Miracle, Scott Free, would be an excellent way to tie in the Earthbound Justice Leaguers with the weirder New God stuff.
Yeah.
Which is just a good idea, both in general and because if James Gunn were still in charge of it, James Gunn's take on the New Gods would be fucking amazing. I hope the DCU lasts long enough for that to be a thing, but who knows at this point.
So that I think would be the most viable one. Like in the alternative universe, that is the one that James Gunn went for, because that seems more like with all the characters in the Justice League International and the characters I added just to because
and the style involved would be very much up James Gunn's particular alley.
Right. I did add the Question and Animal Man to the roster for that particular Justice League International.
Which honestly, if you ever like could convince Zack Snyder to come back for the Question, I would actually want to see his take, because the Question is a Randian objectivist character, and one of the biggest problems with Zack Snyder's world building for the Snyderverse was trying to project Randian objectivism onto characters that it doesn't make fucking sense for. Right. First and foremost, among them being Superman.
But because it's us, and I think we can kind of. Okay, you know what? Actually, I'm actually gonna lean into my ego here, with whatever dwindling little shriveled up shreds there are of it.
Whatever remains of it.
Yeah.
Tortured a little sapling that I have to resuscitate to keep alive every 5 minutes.
Yeah. I say we create our own little DCU. Although I did have some ideas.
Mm-hmm.
For one thing, Chapter 1, I dub it the Foundation, as that is what it's supposed to be.
Mm.
Either that or the Founding. I'm not sure either. I don't really care for either. Obviously, first movie-wise, I think would be Superman, and obviously the pitch we've talked about several times, and just now already earlier.
Mm-hmm. The found footage one.
Mockumentary, I think would actually be better. Because found footage implies that it was just a camera recording and not
stuff edited together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although name-wise, I have no idea what running name I came up with just randomly as we were talking. Superman, the Man in the Cape. That, I don't know.
I might go, and maybe this is another little nod to like Fleischer territory. How about Superman? It's a bird. It's a plane.
I'm a fucking dumbass. God damn it.
This is for the record, folks. This is sometimes how our brainstorming sessions on Thursdays go. It occasionally helps to just be each other's like auxiliary brains.
Right. So yeah, I wrote some notes down here. Obviously, it's a documentary addressing the people of Metropolis reacting to Superman, like his arrival, his actions, and all that,
Hmm.
like his effect to the people. Like we get some we get like a bunch of interviews. We get like camera footage, like either grainy CCTV or like so
Hmm.
that kind of helps.
Or maybe like news segments
Yeah,
from like anchors and stuff.
yeah. My point being, like, this also kind of helps. This could be a this helps it with the budget on the fact that this could be low budget and thus able to also hide like the CGI and stuff.
Yeah, and thus not cost like 200 bastarding $1 million.
Yeah. Um, and this is kind of a Superman that is a little bit established, not too much, like a few supervillains here and there, but like
He's still in the territory where um he's almost regarded like a cryptid or a force of nature still.
more like those like Guardian Angel stories.
Right, yeah.
Cryptid
Which
more
of course which of course makes me think of that annoying in the arms of the angel thing that charities use all the time.
right. And there were several supervillains I thought of having interviews in jail. Ultra Humanite, who was the first ever supervillain Superman went up against in the comics. This is Golden Age.
Mhm.
Um,
What
it-
what do you think? What do you think of the idea of, as like a reference to Smallville, people calling him the Red Blue Blur or something along those lines?
I mean, yeah, that could work.
And I mean, we could also like have things like track the development of the Superman story with the various segments, and have like the Big Blue Boy Scout something that people start calling him when he becomes more well known.
Yeah. So I also the first interview, which again is obviously supposed to be mentioned for Ultra Humanite, is supposed to be like he was the first supervillain Superman faced. Man,
Hmm.
because no one ever talks about Ultra Humanite, and
Yeah,
because of the DCAU, I think people have associated him with the Flash a bit.
yeah, yeah.
Good character though. I genuinely. Then
Mhm.
you got Toyman and Parasite because you gotta have Parasite.
Right, yeah.
Although I had this funny bit in my head is that Clark refused to be in the same room with Parasite because Parasite might know or sense the energy coming off Clark with his powers.
Uh huh. And he doesn't want to get told on.
Yeah. So he just sets up the camera and kind of is like
Mhm.
far away, you know?
Speaking of potential alternate universes, imagine a universe where instead of Brandon Routh in Superman Returns, it was Tom Welling making the jump from Smallville to the movies.
Right. And I had an idea for the midpoint, which was Lex Luthor being interviewed, not as a Superman villain, but as a public figure who has had opinions about Superman's arrival and stuff.
Yeah, because essentially treat him like Elon Musk talking about the perils of AI, except of course with Lex, it's the perils of
Yeah. Um,
metahumans or
like I
something
said,
along those lines.
it's him and Lois having this kind of interview slash debate.
Hmm. Um, you keep talking. I have to use the restroom.
Right. Um, and like I said, it's like the movie itself is also kind of supposed to. I mean, I know it's framed as like a documentary, found footage kind of deal. Well, I say found footage in quotations, but it is supposed to be based off for all Superman for all seasons, which I think it's just handling it in a particularly different way. And again, Clark is supposed to be the cameraman, and I don't know, like a throwaway joke or something is like Jimmy just was out or was on vacation or something. Uh, and some people like Lois can make uh, when she's speaking to Clark or the camera as B roll or behind the scenes or bloopers, because we could add that in as well. That Clark's not that great with the camera. Um, it's not really his forte because he himself is also a reporter with Lois. So, um, thing wise, again, is like, I I'm of two minds of showing Superman or Clark. I like the idea that he's just behind the camera at all times, and we just mostly hear his voice. I don't know if an actor would be fine with that, even though we would have had him cast to be Superman. Although I do like there would be like little segments of just like behind, like their like Lois and Lois and Clark are like looking at footage and maybe even like in the process of editing some footage. Like they're going like it's a on ongoing process of making this documentary special thing for the planet. Um, and we just kind of see their relationship a bit. Like, I like the idea that they are kind of dating at this point. Like, it's early stages dating for Lois and Clark. They're not, but you also get again like the relationship wise. I'm thinking of basing it off Clark and Lois from Superman the animated series, where they have a budding romance hidden within their rivalry. Like they're both friends, rivals, and kind of lovers. So I think that's how they genuinely work. Um, some cameos. Obviously, I think um, just some radio interviews or like radio or podcast stuff could be intermingled with like the views and perspectives of Superman, which are like from. Sorry, I'm looking it up. From like a podcast hosted by Leslie Willis, Livewire. Maybe you can get the original actress who played her in the animated series because I think she's still around. Sorry, I apologize for that. Um, yeah, and genuinely, I think it's just this would be such a different movie comparative to like other superhero movies and Superman movies in general as well. Is I think it really emphasizes like the human perspective of living in the DC universe, which you don't technically get too much of, mind you. Um, and I just think not to say it would be a hail mary, but it would actually be very much interesting first step or brick in that foundation for the new DCEU. You know, plus I think the marketing campaign would actually be pretty interesting because you could frame it that it's all in universe. Everything like even the trailer is supposed to be like a choppy first draft to sell or pitch the uh, documentary. Sorry. I guess now we wait for Dalton.
Okay, I'm back.
What's up?
Okay, I'm back.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going over some things um, like some other cameos besides the villains and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like having Leslie Willis, Livewire, like audio from her podcast.
Oh yeah, the shock jock who
Yeah,
who gets electric powers.
yeah.
Which I can't believe they didn't. Oh God, they missed the opportunity with that.
To be fair, I don't think there's an actress, like a younger actress, that can match Laura Petty's uh, personality playing that character.
Um, what about the girl who played Negasonic Teenage Warhead in Deadpool?
I mean, Livewire was a lot more explosive and dynamic as a personality.
I think the actress for Negasonic could do that. Like if they casted her as
Livewire,
as Livewire, she could do that. She definitely could.
right?
I think.
But I was more saying that as like a setup for the character. Obviously, like this is pre Livewire.
Or no, wait a second. I'm a dumbass. Jenna Ortega.
You just want to cast her in anything, to be fair.
Wait, I mean, in a perfect world, we would be saving her for Raven, but we live in an imperfect world. Or
Right.
even Z, I could see her as Zatanna. Although I would rather her be Raven because Teen Titans Go notwithstanding, turning her into a Pegasister, um, Raven being Goth has been canon ever since the Glen Orikami one. So fuck it. She is the best goth. She is the best goth actress currently working in Hollywood today. So
Right.
we need to get Jenna Ortega as Raven at some point.
Um, and again, like I think we're both in agreement. Like a third act, kind of more out of the blue. Uh, well, I also am pitched to seeing like behind the scenes and blooper stuff happening as well. Like we're seeing that, even though like it's supposed to be a documentary, because we're more getting kind of an omniscient view sort of through this thing.
Right.
Like we're seeing all the for one thing, just a running gag that Jimmy might be on vacation or something, and Clark's handling camera, and Lois honestly makes the joke that Jimmy's better at working it than he is.
Mm.
Um,
So you essentially want Jimmy to be Freddy from iCarly, more or less.
it would make sense, yeah. And also, I didn't want to. I did not want to have the inclusion of Jimmy. I just if we're going with the idea that Clark is the cameraman, we had to explain why Jimmy isn't the cameraman.
Well, I would just have Jimmy be a little younger and have him be hired as Lois's assistant later on in their career. That's the way I would do it.
If we're still keeping David Corns, if we're still keeping David Corns, I just again but yeah, the third act, more or less, the they're actually broadcasting live. Then I would say, or like catching something live as it's happening, like some type of, I don't know, alien invasion maybe,
Mm.
or something. Not sure.
But well, I've been fucking
Brainiac, but I kind of
yeah,
want to.
Brainiac.
For this specific one, I kind of want to build that up, but I don't think it would work for the documentary thing.
Okay, so who is going to be the third act villain then? Unless you want to do an interesting kind of expose thing and have it be Lex in the Lex armor.
Still wouldn't make that still wouldn't make sense.
Okay.
Okay. So what?
Obviously, you can't do somebody insane like Mixie. So
Atomic Skull.
Metallo, maybe.
I kind of want to save him, so I would say Atomic Skull, just because he is kind of a more or less a fodder villain than anything.
Trying to see if there's any better ones.
Okay, look, the idea is like they are doing the documentary, but then they cover just randomly a supervillain is doing something bad and Superman appears. That's the whole premise there.
Right. Okay, so
it doesn't really matter the supervillain.
Right, I'm just trying to think of one that would like be big enough to be an actual problem for Clark without being so big that, you'd be wasting a villain.
Hence why I said Atomic Skull.
Just trying to see if there's a better one for that. I mean, if we were doing the thing that I would prefer Warner Brothers not be doing and setting up the larger DC universe, having it be Captain Marvel would be interesting. Kind of pulling from the crossover episode in Superman the Animated Series. But then again, that's repeating Warner Brothers' worst problem, which is trying to fast track the universe so hard that you kind of nerf the individual installments.
That makes no sense. Captain Marvel, the villain?
Antagonist more than villain, but
I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense to me.
Again, kind of taking from the episode in Superman the Animated Series with a crossover.
You mean Justice League Unlimited?
Was it a Justice League episode? I thought it was a Superman the Animated Series episode where they crossed over.
Where he quits the League because he doesn't feel like the League are heroes anymore, and he supports Lex Luthor?
The one where Lex is like opening up a building and Superman is very skeptical.
Justice League Unlimited.
Okay, that was a Justice League episode, not a Super. Especially in the latter seasons of Batman and Superman the Animated Series, they did do crossovers occasionally, so I thought it was a.
I know that. I'm just. That's what confused me, is like what you're saying. But no, I don't think it would work. It's like, so that's why, again, I'm leaning towards Atomic Skull. One, because he's super powered and has put Superman through the ringer a few times. So he's big enough to keep a fight going, but he's not too big of a villain that he's wasted.
I mean, the other option, and this would be a nice callback to Justice League, would be Steppenwolf. That way we can set up Darkseid for later while still having it be a character that it's not going to hurt anything to, one shot.
Okay, so I'm going to be fully honest. I think because Zack Snyder kind of fucked the New Gods for the moment, I kind of want to hold off on.
Yeah, unfortunately, it has to. Like, even. Like, I know Ava DuVernay was cringy when she did Wrinkle in Time, but it would have at least been interesting to see her take on New Gods.
Yeah, so I think just for a little bit, like, honestly, if the universe continued like 5 or so years more, then we can start introducing the new gods.
Hmm.
Again,
Anyway, we probably should move to the next topic relatively soon.
I mean, we're still building it up, so we still got time. Okay, let's come up with like 4 other things for the DCU.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna be fair though. There are like 2 other ideas I've had to put in. The final thing for the first chapter, I want it to be a world's finest movie.
Okay.
So that means one of the things has to be a Batman movie or something.
Well, obviously. Although that kind of goes against the whole avoiding focusing on characters that have already been touched on by the DCEU. So
That's fair. God damn it.
this would the Superman mockumentary thing would have to be in like when we I know I'm a broken record when it comes to this, but the thing that would make the most sense would be starting with a Justice Society series of movies, and then introducing Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman um when comes the time to transition from Gold to Silver Age, kind of like Justice League did, or Smallville rather. Because the passing of the torch thing was such a good idea that they should be easily able to do, but didn't do because fuck me.
Well, I'm also considering how Warner Brothers works, and they're not going to let slide Superman, Batman, or whatever.
True, but somebody needs to tell Warner Brothers to occasionally go fuck themselves when they are getting in their own fucking way.
All right. I did want to do a Wonder Woman animated series, though.
Considering that she was the only one of the Trinity that didn't get one back in the Paul Dini vs. Tim days.
I think they wanted to, they just never got it greenlit or had something cemented.
There's so much bullshit with the fact that Wonder Woman got shafted so many times.
But yeah, like I said, I was thinking of it, and I did want to run with the idea that James Gunn had of like having it be multimedia.
Right.
Working title I had was Wonder Woman Amazon Adventures.
That works.
Obviously, I would have had it more of a young adult animated series, more than like whatever the fuck adult series, well, adult quote unquote animation like Creature Commandos was.
Mm.
I just cannot figure an angle to spin it. Though, granted, I kind of just want to lean more into the general foundation of the mythology of Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say mythology, obviously, I mean more so the actual like mythos of the character.
Yeah.
With some elements of like original Greek mythology.
Right. Basically, give Diana a like Odyssey style epic to play with.
I mean, still have like the superhero stuff, obviously.
I mean, if we were keeping with the like quasi mockumentary thing, you could do a like History Channel style documentary with Wonder Woman's mythos.
I think overall, I think it would make more sense to have each project kind of be something different while still
right. I just was saying if you decided you wanted to keep with the semi
No,
mockumentary
I
thing
get it.
would be.
Honestly, I would love to do something like that.
Like, this may have been before your time. Have you ever seen Clash of the Gods? The old History Channel documentary series about the ties between Greek mythology and like real Greek stuff.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna have to send that to you at some point because
Okay.
it's a good series just on in general, but also it'd be an interest. I'm curious what it would inspire with you because
Okay.
I know everything does.
We gotta figure out a creator for this, like someone to do the art style, general tone, and everything.
Who was the director of Disney's Hercules?
Well, originally I was gonna go with Glenn Murakami, though he hasn't really done anything in a while. So,
Hmm. I assume you're going in like a primal direction.
like I said, Glenn Murakami, the Batman, Jackie Chan Adventures, Teen Titans, was my original initial idea. But actually, now that I think about it,
Wait, hold on a second. Glenn Kami was involved in Jackie Chan Adventures? I didn't know that.
yeah, uh, you're thinking of Genndy Tartakovsky, Primal, Eternal, Unicorn, Eternal Warriors, Samurai Jack, Cloak.
Okay, yeah, I was my brain pulled a stupid.
Although that actually would work. Although it would be more action that I would prefer. Well, actually, no. He can. Hmm. You know what? Yeah, I'll go with Genndy Tartakovsky just because he's really the only one who's doing action cartoons anymore.
Which is such fucking bullshit. Although to be fair, Netflix has a couple like Blood of Zeus and Tresse and that sort of thing.
One's ended and one is in development hell.
Why is it taking so long to get Tresse season 2 off the ground?
Um,
Although speaking of style for Wonder Woman, Blood of Zeus wouldn't be a bad influence. Especially if you're going animated.
I can see it, but also
Too on the nose.
that, and also I think it's a bit. It's not as stylized as I would like. I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, what style are you going for? The question.
Well, okay, like I said, Genndy Tartakovsky would be kind of the pick I have currently. So something similar to his art style, like Samurai Jack, uh, Primal, Symbiotic Titan. Fuck
Mm.
that show. That should never have been canceled.
Add it to the many lists of things that shouldn't be cancelled but were cancelled because stupid.
But I'm also considering maybe. Well, I don't know. He likes to do his own thing. Craig McCracken. He did Powerpuff Girls, Kid
Yeah.
Cop.
Mm-hmm.
I believe also Dexter Lab. Like he and Genndy Tartakovsky worked on that together.
Yes.
But I'm also considering maybe. You remember the Hellboy animated movies?
Yes.
Something close to
Blood and
that.
Iron and Sword of Storms.
How the fuck that never got? How the fuck Hellboy has not gotten an animated series is never baffling to me.
Well, it's right up there next to the premise of why in the fuck hasn't the third Guillermo del Toro one come out already?
Actually, no, wait, scratch that. There were talks in the 90s about getting him an animated series, but no one would take it because it was too weird and strange.
I mean, Spawn fucking got an animated series, and there isn't as much a gulf between Hellboy and Spawn as people think.
Also,
So why in the fuck?
fair, the show is not as weird as the comics, so
This is also true, but you could. I mean, they managed to do that with the Guillermo del Toro movies, and nothing like of nothing major was lost in the translation exactly. So
I don't know, man.
why in the
Fucking
fuck?
studio heads are weird. I don't. Also, apparently, Mike Mignola helped with Atlantis, the Lost Empire.
That honestly doesn't surprise me. I can definitely see some influence of him in that.
But
Which, speaking of, why in the fuck couldn't we have gotten an animated series in the style of like Atlantis: The Lost Empire or Treasure Planet, but with Hellboy?
Yeah. So yeah, I guess Kenny Tarkovsky. Okay, roughly how many episodes would be ideal for this animated series?
Per season, I assume you mean?
Let's just say season 1 for now, because we don't know how people would react to it.
20.
How about we go 15?
Alright. You know me, I'm partial to the old school fucking episode numbers and shit.
I know. I will agree that I think 9, which is what Creature Commandos had, is a bit short. Mainly because, well, to be fair, it was a team show, and most of the episodes were focused on individual characters.
Which, as a season 1 thing, is not too bad.
But it
lets
you
spotlight the characters, but they didn't really do that as much as they should have.
They didn't really. It's also a team show, and you don't really get to see them interacting with the team much either,
which is dumb. But in any case, we really should move on because I don't want to keep you up too much past midnight, and we still have 2 more things to do.
To be fair, this actually kind of kept me awake and energized by this whole thing.
But we still have 2 other things to do, and it's almost 11:30 already.
All right. Actually, out of curiosity, who would you cast as Wonder Woman? Like both voice and, because again, the multimedia thing, it would have to be an actress who could play both the live action and voice well.
It depends on what age we want Diana to be.
I guess. Well, okay, let's say similar.
I mean, assuming she wasn't persona non grata in Hollywood, I would say Gina Carano.
I've seen some fan cast for DCU Wonder Woman, but there's an actress I think could do it. She is a bit older than I believe David Cornsworth, because I think he's only in his 30s, right?
Is he that old? I thought he was in his 20s still.
Hold on. Yeah, he's 32.
Well, then what the fuck was the point recasting Superman? Because I think Henry is roughly that same age. What the fuck?
No, he's in his 40s.
Anyway, moving along to the next topic.
Hold on. Adrian Pilecki was who was I thinking of?
I don't know her.
She's Kelly in Orville.
Oh. I mean, she'd have to dye her hair, obviously, because
she's also Mockingbird in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Lady J in G.I. Joe Retaliate. She's been in a lot of things. Oh, she was also Miss Perkins in John Wick.
Right.
She's 42. The reason why I picked her is because Joss Whedon, way back when, was trying to make a Wonder Woman TV show. And
why in all the fucks wouldn't you get the guy who did Buffy to do Wonder Woman?
Because he's a creep.
I don't fucking care. He's good at his job. I don't pay artists to be moral. I pay them to be good at art.
To be fair, that was before he was outed as a creep. But besides the point, Adrienne Palicki is what was going to play Wonder Woman. So I think giving her a shot now would be nice because, well, again, I think she's a good enough actress. She could have pulled it off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she was also on Supernatural. I think she was Jess. Sam's
right. Yeah. Sam's girlfriend that got burnt on the ceiling by Azazel and kickstarted the whole plot.
She
looks so young in that. My God, I feel old now.
She's 42, which I think is actually a perfect age for Wonder Woman because, given her immortality status, she is kind of supposed to be a little older and wiser than like some of her compatriots.
Yeah, because she's had a couple thousand years experience by the time modern times roll around.
Yeah. Okay. But like I said, I genuinely think giving her another shot at playing the actual character would be good. It's 2011, by the way. That thing was that show was supposed to be a thing.
Which was like right as he was doing Avengers. Why in the fuck didn't anyone greenlight that shit?
Yeah.
People are such dumbasses, I swear to fucking God.
You just now learned that?
No, it's just the more I learn, the more emphasis gets placed on the fact that people are fucking dumbasses.
It's still loading. Okay, so the last two things I sent. This next one's kind of one that is just strictly up my alley. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if Tom's going to really have much to say about it. So we'll probably breeze through that one quick.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is from AnimeCorner.me. It's written by Shaike Nawani. Published January 5th, 2025. RWBY Volume 10 officially announced.
Which is good that they're continuing it after Rooster Teeth got shuttered.
It's kind of technically back now. I looked into it, but apparently it's being reordered by the old guard, or like one of the old guard, Bernie Burns.
Okay.
I've not looked into it because I don't care, because honestly it's kind of lost its spark. I don't know if they're going to find it again. And it just seems like, okay, so RWBY was taken in by Viz Media. Like, it was just acquired by Viz Media. So it's going to be getting a good budget for this now. So they were working pretty much on a shoestring budget originally because it was independent. Even though they had a bunch of people. I don't know. I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah. Again, RWBY is to anime what Once Upon a Time is to television dramas.
All right. Showrunner Kerry Shawcross confirmed that RWBY Volume 10 is officially in development, as shared on X, formerly Twitter. God damn it. Shawcross said, "But I know what you want to know. Where's Volume 10? So I'm very excited to share that we're super deep in early writing and planning. I know it's been a long journey, and we're incredibly grateful for your patience up to this point, especially knowing that there's a long road ahead. But for now, I want to thank the fandom for sticking with us as we keep moving forward more soon." the moving forward thing is something the original creator would say often. It's kind of his motto. So
Ah,
yeah,
so reference.
yeah.
Good.
Um, the thing is, I think a lot of the original creative team is going to be on it, and given how kind of not great the series was after Montium's passing, don't get me wrong. Again, I've stated this many times. While the early Ruby seasons or volumes were janky and hobbled together, they weren't perfect. I will fully admit that. Some people praise it and uphold it as this whole thing and stuff. I'm willing to admit that it's like it's this whole perfect thing, all that, right? I'm willing to admit that it wasn't perfect, that it had good it had at least good bones. And again, I'm always
But it
my whole
was better.
it had heart, it had passion, it had. Not to say that there weren't ideas and stuff in the later seasons, but I think there was just a odd. There was just something missing there. Not so much like passion or anything. So I think the animators and people that were putting work in were putting work in, but the major issue was just it always felt kind of either rushed or incomplete. And I will always say this: there are no bad ideas, only poor execution. Um,
Granted, some ideas have to be graded on a curve, but yeah.
well, there's always something like every rewrite I've ever done. I've always tried my best to, at the very least, stick with the original idea and just build off of
Right,
it.
it's just that some ideas take a lot more doing to get them to a place where they're good than others. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
No, I okay, fair enough.
Takes
Rooster Teeth has
takes a lot more work to fill the gaps when there are more gaps. Is what I'm saying.
Rooster Teeth Animation is responsible for Ruby's animation production. The late Montium created the series, which first premiered in 2013. Viz acquired the rights to Ruby in 2024. Ruby is officially described in a world filled with horrific monsters bent on death and destruction. Humanity's hope lies with powerful huntsmen and huntresses. Ruby Rose, Rice Snee, Blake Belladonna, and Yang Xiaolong are four such huntresses in training, whose journeys will take them far past the grounds of their school, Beacon Academy. Though each may be powerful on their own, these four girls must overcome dark forces and work as a team if they truly hope to become the next generation of Remnant's protectors. Created in 2013 by the late animator and writer Monty Ruby is celebrated as the first anime series produced in the U.S. and the first Western-produced anime to be dubbed and distributed in Japan. Yeah.
I think there are some examples of anime made for the West that bear mentioning here. In particular, let the real Avatar please stand up.
All right. This series has received international acclaim, growing from an animated web series to a global anime franchise with content extending across publishing, video games, and merchandise, as well as spin-offs Ruby Chibi, Ruby Ice Queendom, and two direct video crossover with DC's Just League. Talked about those stuff. The merchandise, video games, and publishing stuff, the supplemental stuff, not that great. Yeah.
Someday I'm gonna have to subject you to the horror that is Once Upon a Time. Make you rewrite it.
I watched it. I don't want to rewrite it.
The first 2 episodes are actually really good. It's everything else that slowly crashes and burns in several garbage fires. Although, admittedly, it did get a second wind in its final season. Season 7 was not that bad. Wasn't as good as the first couple episodes, but it wasn't bad. Or it wasn't as bad as some of the later seasons. I'm just happy that one of the episodes of Once Upon a Time that actually worked was the one that had Disney's Hercules in, because he's cute. And yes, I am in fact a thirsty motherfucker. When you are almost 30 and still a virgin, then you can complain.
What?
Nothing. Never mind. I guess you missed it.
No, I heard you. I just was being an asshole there. Also, I was setting up the last thing, so
Mm-hmm.
I was getting like bits and pieces.
Uh-huh.
Also, I do judge you all the time.
Yes, I know. I am aware. But
Like,
when almost 30 you reach, be as unthirsty you will not, to paraphrase Master Yoda. Provided that you're still a virgin by the time you're almost 30. Which, honestly, you have a better chance getting laid between now and the time you're 30 than I do ever. Which annoys me a bit, but not quite as much as it otherwise would, because I'm happy for my friends. Hopefully someday getting laid. Although if you find yourself in Azula, I will reserve the right to tell you you're being a dumbass.
you assume I care enough about sex to really give a shit.
Fair, but trust me, being a virgin when you're still almost 30 hits a bit different, my dude.
I'll be honest, man. I've given up the idea of me having sex ever. So,
And again, that is even more sad when you consider that you have a better chance getting laid than me. So, I will not be looking in that abyss anytime soon.
all right. So we have the official trailer for Wednesday season 2. Dalton's favorite little whatever.
It it tried. I still had like 40 minutes worth of rant about them not exactly handling the Adams well, but they have the opportunity to improve in season 2. So who knows?
Um, is I don't know.
In previous Adams Family related things, we did the snapping as the pause phrase. Yeah.
This is the first time you've ever willingly returned to a school. How does it feel?
Like returning to the scene of the crime. I already know where the bodies are buried.
Wednesday Adams. It is an honor to meet the savior of Nevermore.
Okay, because I am that gay bitch, I am going to point out that the musical sting there is from the Phantom of the Opera, and God, that is awesome. Not sure, like, it works for an Adam Sandler related thing. I'm not knocking it, because I am, as Brainstormer once called me, that bitch. But, I am slightly confused as why you wouldn't do an instrumental version of the actual Addams Family theme instead of riffing from, like, the gay theater kid part of my brain likes hearing the Phantom Stinger, but the Addams Family fanboy part of my brain is like, of all the things you could have used, you didn't think to do with, um, like, symphonic or, theatrical version of the Addams Family theme. Anyway, moving on.
An honor to meet the savior of Nevermore.
Can I get your autograph? I only signed my name in blood. I would expect nothing less. I never said it was my own blood.
We need to set bear traps out here.
Okay, that was a good line for Wednesday.
Howdy, Ruby. We're gonna have so much fun.
That I do like the roommate parallels with random chipper werewolf girl there, whose name I forget. But they have a good character dynamic and chemistry, so that's all good. I would still like more emphasis on the Addams being the Addams, but we shall see if they redeem themselves somewhat after season 1. Which again, season 1 was not bad. It was a very, very good show, and Jenna Ortega deserves the breakout role status that she got from it. But as a fan of the Addams, like I own a collection book of the original Charles Addams comic that I got for Christmas last year.
Hey, I don't think I ever showed you this, or have you heard of it? Some guy did like a whole bunch of skits regarding the Addams family moving to Gotham.
I have not seen that. I have seen the adult Wednesday Addams series, that actually predates Wednesday by like a decade.
I remember watching it, actually.
I'm annoyed that the copyright owners of the Addams copyright struck all that shit, because that was very good Addams content, damn it. And I need more of that in my life.
Yeah, I watched those. I watched those when I was younger. I should send you the Addams in Gotham then. Like he put it on a compilation like a movie. So
yeah, I am going to have to check that out at some point. But
for the record, they are addicted to Scarecrow's fear toxin. Like he sells it to them. Like it's one of the bits there.
And I'm sure Gomez and Morticia use it for sexy time oriented things.
No, I think it's like everyone in the family takes it. Like they like it.
Well, yeah, because the Addams are the Addams. The Scarecrow's fear toxin is basically their equivalent of like pot, probably.
I think Fester Fester broke into Arkham to play a card game with some of the guys.
That's adorable.
Either that or he admitted himself. I can't remember which.
Either would certainly be in character for Fester. Well played.
Honestly, I am surprised no one's ever done crossover comics with the Addams family in terms of like that kind of stuff.
I think there's been ones with Elvira, although don't quote me on that.
Okay, hold on. I'll look this up just because I'm curious, but let me... Don?
Yeah.
No,
you okay?
No, I'm asking... I'll play 20 more seconds. Can I get a...
The more fun goes to die.
I know what those tears mean. What did you see?
Enid dies and it's all my fault. I died because of you!
I will not let history repeat itself.
Oh, no. Okay. I realize this is going to be a very, very pedantic bit of fanboyism here. But the Addams don't process guilt in the same way as normal people do. You can't make Wednesday Addams goth Nancy Drew. That was one of the biggest problems with season 1. They kept trying to treat the Addams like a normal, like, dramedy or sitcom family, and that does not work. Because the Addams, like, framework does not process, like, family drama in the same way that other people do. And that is a crucial part of their characters. I realize it makes Wednesday a more difficult protagonist to write, but Barry Sonnenfeld handled it fine. I have no doubt that Tim Burton and the guys who did Smallville could manage it if they put their actual minds to it for 5 minutes. Like, even if it just ends up taking things from the Barry Sonnenfeld movies and, like, cribbing them from it, it would still be better off than trying to treat the Addams like a normal family when it suits the plot. Like, if you want to write the Addams, you gotta commit to writing the Addams. If you don't want to write the Addams, then don't fucking have it 1 foot in and 1 foot out. That does not work. Here endeth the rant for now. I expect there will be another rant come me watching season 2, just like there was when I watched season 1. But in any case.
Secrets are the bedrock of the Addams family. The sooner I get answers, the sooner I can save Enid. Or die
Okay.
trying.
Okay. Stop.
Sorry, I just wanted to get to 20. So
2 problems. As much as the theater kid in me likes hearing the Phantom theme, why didn't you just do an instrumental version of the Addams Family theme, or create a new theme for Wednesday? And 2, that is possibly the most wrong thing I have ever heard said about the Addams. The Addams have no secrets from each other. That is one of their defining properties. That's as universal a thing you can say about the Addams as possible. The Addams do not keep secrets from each other. They don't hide things from each other. They don't, like, softcore or coddle their kids. And that's been consistent since the 60s show, back at a time where the censors would throw an absolute hissy fit for half the shit they actually managed to get away with somehow. So, no, I don't care how good Jenna Ortega is at playing Wednesday. That is a categorically wrong statement. Fuck off. Entirely.
Okay, so I was looking up to see what comics there were. There really aren't any crossovers with the Addams, actually. But I just found an image of Beetlejuice hanging out with the Addams family, and Gomez is calling him Cousin Beach.
Yep. No, that would be consistent. That is it. Like, I can almost, funnily enough, see a scenario where, like, Beetlejuice ends up having to tell Gomez and Morticia to stop calling him because they overuse the summoning thing too much. like I'm just imagining Beetlejuice having to do the equivalent of lose my number kind of with the Addams because they conjure him too much. That's probably what would happen if Beetlejuice was in the same universe as the Addams. But yeah, the whole Addams family being built on secrets thing is the single most wrong thing that has ever been said in the comprehensive history of the universe.
God damn it. Okay, I just randomly came across this. Again, I was looking at the images. Okay, so someone apparently on Reddit asked basically Addams Family and Ruby. It's like the most random thing I just found.
Well, as one of the rules of the internet have it, if it exists, there is fan art of it somewhere.
Well, it's not fan art. It's someone asking how would they design the Addams Family in Ruby.
Honestly, a lot of their designs probably would still work because they're already like semi-Gothic, semi-Victorian-ish.
Yeah. Anyway,
my question would be, what would all their semblances be? because you know they would have them.
No clue, man.
Well, obviously Fester's would be his like immunity to electricity one. I could see Grandmama her mediumship thing being a semblance.
Right. Okay. Anyway, let me get back to the tab.
You could have Morticia's actually be the like mood lighting thing they did with Angelica Houston in the Barry Sonnenfeld ones.
I feel like that just should be a thing for Morticia, like throughout every adaptation going forward.
Again, there are. I will maintain this. The Barry Sonnenfeld Addams Family movies are the most accurate outside of Charles Addams' original comics version of the Addams. And it will never cease to amaze and enrage me that more notes of what made the Barry Sonnenfeld movies work were not taken in, for example, the animated ones that look like Hotel Transylvania, kind of, recently. Those were varying degrees of bad. But it will never cease to amaze me that more influence from the Barry Sonnenfeld movies was not taken by other adaptations of the Addams, including Wednesday.
All right, shall we?
Women like us, we forge our own path, dig our own grave.
What the hell happened? Wednesday happened.
Again, I don't know why of all the musical stings in all the world you picked Phantom of the Opera as your sting for Wednesday.
Right.
Like the theater kid in me loves it, but the Addams fan in me is like, why didn't you just give Wednesday her own?
Yeah, I just realized something. I saw some like, those like Bat Family headcanon things you've sent me before.
Yeah.
I recently came across some Addams Family ones.
Okay, I think I've seen at least one of those. I think the one that I saw was the Cousin Intruder one. I don't know if you've seen that one yet.
Where like someone just comes in,
trying to pilfer the Addams money, and the family essentially adopts him.
Yes,
because the Addams.
I also I've also seen
that is the only major problem I have with the Barry Sonnenfeld movies. Both Addams Family and Addams Family Values focus on someone trying to steal the Addams' money, and one of those people who tries to steal the Addams' money is literally a Black Widow serial killer. And I'm sorry, but there is absolutely no reason why Debbie wouldn't have just immediately been adopted by the Addams if she had just had the self-awareness to realize that the Addams are literally her people.
Right. The one I came across was less a scenario or a headcanon, but more of you want to get rich quick, have the Addams invest in something.
Yeah, in the hopes of losing money, and it will automatically be successful because Gomez like actively disdains the old money that he has, but because he's such a like zany super genius without even meaning to be, every time he invests in something with the deliberate intention of making it fail, it will somehow contrive to be the most successful thing ever.
Right. To be fair, that also means you have to like have the most insane idea out there.
Yeah, it's Gomez investing in any given enterprise is basically the producer's plot on repeat. The whole "where did we go right" thing. That is basically Gomez's theme song when it comes to, like, he actively wants to get rid of money. He wants it to piss off and leave him the fuck alone. But it keeps his like deliberately choosing to fail investments always end up returning like not only a profit but like insane several times over categories of profit.
I also remember seeing a clip of like the animated the Addams Family cartoon, where Gomez is going to do a stunt, like shot from a cannon into a glass of water while knitting. And Morticia says that he did that last week, but he says this time he's going to fail. But he doesn't.
Yeah, because Gomez has like the inverse of plot armor. He actively wants to injure himself and maim himself and do horrible things to himself, but the universe just will not let him.
To be fair, the Addams are nigh immortal in a way.
Well, yeah, because they've developed so many like resistances to every form of poison and torture under the sun that like they basically almost have a Wolverine style healing factor by sheer dint of just out hedonisming themselves all the time. They have hedonismed their way into immortality, basically.
Okay, there's a question I have to ask you after we're done with this, like after stream. So, shall we?
But anyway, yep.
Wednesday Addams is here. It's Addams with 2 Ds, like padded room.
I don't know. That was a little bit too much of a trailer line. I hope they just had Jenna record that for the trailer and that it's not actually in the show.
Part 1, August 6th. Part 2, September 3rd.
Okay, so does that mean they're splitting the stupidly short number of episodes for a modern show? Or does that mean we're actually getting the return of an actual decent number of episodes per season, damn it? Because I will accept the 2-part season if it means getting a reasonable number of episodes back. But if you just end up splitting the already way too short episode number in half, I'm going to be pissed.
So anyway, with that, folks, I want to say goodbye, adios, aloha, avideze, sayonara, peace, cheers, and
go to Gomez Addams for investment advice and fuck off. Not necessarily